This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Are you not entertained?
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
The only thing is, we don't throw a spear at you if you're not entertained, okay? It was from Gladiator, and...
Well, not yet.
Not yet. But, we might find a way to throw a verbal spear. You never know. Welcome. Thursday morning already here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. For Mark, it would be the end of a 4-day week, but we haven't gotten there yet. It's still 5, and Mark McKenzie here, of course, this morning, and this is the Main Street of York and York County. We are the voice of York and York County, and very proud to be the only talk show here in York and York County. This is the Gary Sutton Show live from Brooks Robinson Plaza, right here at Wellspan Park, in the middle of downtown York. I'm saying that with a New York accent for some unknown reason. And, of course, home of the York Revolution, the two back-to-back champions of the Atlantic League. And we're going to have more on them in just a few moments. A good night last night for York, although they didn't gain any ground because Long Island pummeled first-half champion Hagerstown 18-3. Custer's last stand might have been more merciful than that beating last night. But anyway, all this brought to you by Ensign and Sparler, attorneys at law, and kindnessworldwide.org. And so glad to have them as our presenting sponsors each and every day right here on the Gary Sutton Show. You can text our show today. And I'm interested in knowing how you feel about this trade war that's going on or starting up between the United States and Canada. I mean, I don't know. Do we need something else? Don't we have enough going on? And I'm just wondering, do we need higher prices on things? Do we need to have somebody else tell us, okay, you guys have to suffer for this because this is what we're making right? Or maybe you think that it's needed. Well, you can do that at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook today, but also at 833-478-4729. Love to know where you're sitting on the whole trade war between the United States and Canada. I didn't get a chance to really look yet at the Facebook post yesterday on Dolly Parton, but I want to look back, and I'll throw a few of those in during the course of the show today. And, of course, you can find us at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook, also on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And don't forget, after the show, you can, take our show as a podcast and go back and get parts of it if you want to hear it again, or a particular interview, or even the whole show at WOYK on YouTube as we reach out in a mass way to everyone we can humanly find. There you go. Yesterday, I have to share a little bit here. I've been having problems with my hands for these last 6 or 7 months, and they really hurt. And one is like a trigger finger on my right hand, but the other finger next to it, it's like my pinky and my ring finger. I can barely bend them, okay, which has not kept me from playing golf, but I actually have to wear a glove on that hand because it hurts so badly to even touch the club. On my left hand, my index finger has been stinging for these last 6-7 months. Mark has been very caring about this.
Sympathetic.
Very sympathetic, yeah. He goes, really? Yeah, that was pretty much it. No, really? Yeah. No, anyway. So yesterday I went to my doctor, who's very good, and he's worked on my hands before on some other stuff with carpal tunnel and so forth. So we go in and we sit down and get these x-rays, and he says, he said, you got this and this over in the right hand. He said, I think some injections would help that. He said, now on your left hand, on your index finger, take a look at these knuckles. And he goes down through the knuckles and he says, look at these, everything here looks good. And then you come to this finger. And he said, that's shot. And I said, is that like a medical term? He said, no, it's pretty much you. He said, yeah, you got some problems there. And he said, then you probably, so he said, I can inject that, but it's going to hurt. I said, well, I appreciate his honesty, and yet to anticipate that. So then what happens? He said, just sit here for a few minutes. We'll get you all taken care of and get you out of here. So the girl brings in the 3 syringes Two of them have these really short, stickers on the end of it and a little bit of medicine in. And then there's this one with a horse needle on it. It's like an inch or an inch and a half long. To me, it could have been a foot long, but I mean, I'd be exaggerating. So, and with a whole lot of medicine in, which I am smart enough to know because my wife's in healthcare, that's going to take a while. So he comes in, he said, it's okay. And he numbs down my two fingers. He said, we'll do those first. So he said, it's going to be a big stick. Oh, yeah, it is. And then he's in and out before you even know it. So I'm like, okay, all right, that's good. Now he said, we're going to do this other one. He said, so now imagine putting your hand palm down on a desk and you put your index finger down and you bend it. He said, what I have to do is shoot this into your knuckle. And this was the long one with a whole lot of medicine in. So he said, we need to get the gap open there. And if you're cringing right now, you know what I felt like. And then he said, now a big stick. Oh, that was an understatement of the year. And then he said, now this is going to take a little bit. He said, here, just open that a little bit more. Pull your finger back a little bit more. You're doing good. You're doing good. And he keeps on digging it down. I swear to God, I was expecting to see the needle come out the other side of my finger. I mean, he was so deep. And it took it felt like it took maybe a minute. It probably took 45 seconds, something like that. It felt like 2 days in Cleveland. I mean, it was like awful. Ouch. And at the end, he finally pulled it out. He said, you did really good with that. I said, oh. And then I went and played golf after it was over. So I walk outside. I see my friend, Audrey, who's married to one of my best friends. And she said, how'd you do today? I said, well, I had 3 shots. He goes, look at my hand. She had 5. She had 5 shots in her hands. And I'm thinking, oh, my gosh. So then I said, how long does this take to get, really take over? He goes, 7 days. So last night, this morning, actually, about 3 o'clock, I wake up and my left knuckle is like, oh, what happened? So it's a little sore today, but I thought I'd share that story to start your day off and say, if you think you have it bad today, you didn't get a shot in your knuckle yesterday. With that, we turn to Mark McKenzie on National Just Because Day.
Well, I have a question. It's like, do you think if you hadn't seen the length of the needles, it would have helped?
Well, yeah, and they brought him in, and they kind of covered him, but you could see him. And they let him sit there for a while, like you could let it sink in mentally before he comes in. He goes, well, let's go. But they bring it in. It's like bringing in the axe to cut your head off before they do it. I didn't know if I really needed to see those.
A little bit different.
Like bring them in probably. I'm probably over-exaggerating the touch, but, bring them in at the same time as a doctor. You come in with them. Let's get a short look at them and go at it. But instead, I have to ponder the weapons that are about to go into my body.
Now, is it worse than a needle in the mouth?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would think so. Okay. I would think so. Although, you know what? Maybe not, because once you get, Novocaine, it's only a second or two, and then it's deadened.
Well, they do wait a few minutes before it goes in.
Yes, they do. But
now
they put that other stuff in there that deadens it, and then when they put that in, it doesn't hurt so bad. Yeah, no, I would say the one in the mouth I would take over and over again. This was by the way, 8 days until Labor Day weekend and 14 days until the NFL regular season starts. Let's turn to happier news with Mark McKenzie.
It's Tarzan Day.
Tarzan Day?
Oh, Thoughtful Thursday.
You got to do the Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan, the 1920s.
World Rock, Paper, Scissors Day.
Okay. Pretty useless days.
Food holidays. It's Banana Lovers Day.
Okay. All right. I like bananas. Do you like banana bread?
My
wife made some banana bread out of some fairly ripe bananas last week.
Yeah, the real ripe ones I don't. No. Okay. It's also one of the national hamburger days.
Oh, no, not that.
Yeah, it's not even.
So contrived. No one's even listening to that
excited.
anymore. And we're wiping that off.
So it's August 27th. Lots of things have happened on previous August 27th. What exactly that would have impacted your life
What's
in some way?
happened on
now?
August 27th, Mark, that would have impacted my life?
1665, the very first play is performed in North America. It's in Accomack, Virginia.
Oh.
1665. The play, perhaps you remember, Ye Bear and Ye Cub.
No, I don't remember that one.
Well, that was it, though. 1859. We're jumping ahead here because I'm trying to quicken this feature
Thank God.
up.
Yeah.
First successful oil well drilled.
Titusville, Pennsylvania.
That's it.
Yep.
1883. They say it was the loudest explosion ever. It was the Krakatoa volcano west of Java in Indonesia. It erupted with a force, they say, of 200 megatons of TNT.
Oh, my gosh.
How many people died?
Well, it had to be a lot.
36,000
Oh, my gosh.
that they know about. On this date, speaking of dead people, 1918, on this date, Spanish flu arrives in Boston, and that began the second and deadliest wave here in the U.S. And again, they call it Spanish flu because it's the cultural reminder of what we're talking about. But in reality, it began in the United States. It came from soldiers that went over for World War I.
Of course, with the COVID pandemic, everybody was talking about 1918 as the last time something major like that happened to the whole country.
Pandemic, as they say. In 1921, on this date, J.E. Clare of Acme Packing Company was granted an NFL franchise.
Really? It would have been the Green Bay Packers.
Correct. Acme Packing.
Yes.
Yeah. On this date, 1955, notice the big jump, the first edition of the Guinness Book of World Records was published.
Wonder what the first world record was they put in it.
You know, I don't know.
Wouldn't that be an interesting thing?
They had enough to make a book.
I guess. So they probably just mass entrance, yeah.
I just mentioned this for cultural reasons. 1964 on this date, Mary Poppins premiered at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I want to tell you something. Julie Andrews was she was the lady. She had looks, she had a voice, she could act.
She had everything.
She really did. She had it all. All right. So next on this date in
was that before or after Sound of Music?
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sound of Music was 65, I think.
They were fairly
Next
close.
year.
She was a hot commodity at that point. Yes.
Oh, yeah. She made a lot of movies. But then there were some that weren't very well received.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, Molly Brown, something? It's with James Garner. And I don't know.
There was some,
World War II thing.
Everybody's got a few dogs.
Everybody liked, the happy.
Sure.
The happy.
Yeah.
1967 on this date, the manager of the Beatles, Brian Epstein, found dead in his London flat, overdosed on sleeping pills.
It's not a good last name for the endings.
Apparently.
Yeah, one guy hung himself, one guy, Yeah.
Now this, again, stuff happens in the past. Does history repeat itself? I don't know. Maybe. Some people think so. Only because we don't learn from it? I don't know. That's not a comment on this story. 1976, August 27th, the U.S. Open Tennis Championship barred 43-year-old post-op transsexual Renee Richards from competing with other women because he used to be a man. He used to be a Dr. Richard Raskin.
Right.
Now, she refused to take a chromosome test, sued the U.S. Tennis Association, and won.
Yep.
The New York Supreme Court ruled the test was unlawful discrimination and that Renee should be allowed to compete as a woman because I guess she had gone through the surgery. Ms. Richards played on the women's tour for 4 years, didn't win a lot.
No.
There wasn't any advantage to her being somewhat taller and I don't know. I'm going to.
You don't know if there was
stronger.
advantage or if she just sucked at tennis. So I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah. Although by all accounts was a fairly accomplished tennis player as Richard Raskin, but not. You're right. Didn't win a whole lot, if at all, on the women's tour.
Yes.
There.
And then after she retired, she coached Martina Navratilova.
Yes.
And helped her win 2 Wimbledon titles. Continuing, 4 more to go. On this date, 1977, Toby Harrah and Bump Wills hit back-to-back inside the park home runs.
Ooh, never heard
in
of
Yankee
that
Stadium.
At
Right.
Yankee Stadium, back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
Somebody wasn't playing deep enough. I'm just saying.
I have no idea how that could possibly happen.
I had never heard that one.
That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
On this date, 1982, A's outfielder Ricky Henderson broke Lou Brock's steals record with his 119th steal.
Yeah,
Crazy.
he was Mr. Crazy Legs. Yeah.
Also on this date, and I remember the year, it was like 1910 or something. One team had 8 steals in a game. Think about 8 stolen bases. Good
grief.
Lord.
Yeah.
On this date in
arrested in other places.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
1984, President Reagan announced that school teacher Krista McAuliffe would be the first private citizen to fly aboard a space shuttle. And of course, about a year and a half later, 2 years,
Passed away in the Challenger crash.
the disaster there. And on this date, 2007, I could have picked like 3 other things. I just picked this one. Michael Vick pleading guilty in his dogfighting case.
Yeah, not good.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, Michael Vick was not somebody who the SPCA would necessarily want to see walking through their doors. So, yeah, there you go.
I got to go look up that ye cub, ye bear thing. What is that?
Yeah, I'm really, yeah.
wanna
Anyway,
see
we'll
what that's
take a
about.
break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show. The Revs played again last night in Staten Island against the Ferry Hawks. How did they do? How are they doing in terms of leading the North Division of the Atlantic League? Did they extend their lead? We'll find out about it when we come back right here on the Gary Sutton Show. It is a Thursday morning right here on WOYK.
And a swinging ground ball rolled into right center, base hit. He's going to tie it here. Tomo around third, coming in to score. And Brian Ray has tied the Revs single season RBI record number 107. And the Revs lead it 1-0 here in the first. First pitch is drilled to right center field. Turbo giving a look. It is gone. Shed Long Jr., first pitch of the at-bat, and hammers his 12th home run of the year out toward the Hudson in right center, and the Revs lead it 4-1 here in the third inning. And he swings and drives one right field. Rutherford going back. It is gone! Nick Dunn with a home run into the trees in right field. First pitch of the inning, it's his 22nd of the year, and the Revs lead 5-1 here in the fifth. Pitch, he swings and drives one to deep right center. This one's back. It is gone! Nick Dunn with another home run, his second of the night. And the Revs now lead 8-1 here in the eighth. It's number 23 of the year for Nick Dunn. And this one, a majestic, towering blast into the New York night. 428 feet. First offering, he swings, drives one the other way, deep left field. Decker is back at the track. It's gone! Shed Long Jr., an opposite field home run into the trees in left. He's got a 2-home run night. And it's his 13th of the year. They tack on one more here in the 9th. It's 9-1.
And the Revs winning again last night, 9-1, and just looking really good. They're 34-13 in the second half. Now they have a 4-game lead on Long Island, who won 18-3 last night over Hagerstown. The Revs 34-13 in the second half. Overall for the season, they have the best record in the Atlantic League. One shot so forth of 70 wins. They're 69-41. They hold a 2-game lead over the Long Island Ducks for the overall best record in the league. And, of course, the Revs going at it again tonight here on WOYK at 6:10 airtime, 6:30 first pitch. A couple notes on last night's game. As you heard Darryl say, Brian Ray tied Chris Nowak from 2012 for the Revs' single-season record of 107 RBIs, runs batted in. Dunn scored 4 runs and drove in 3, giving him 101 runs scored in the season and 104 RBIs on the year. So he could break that record, too, shortly. Teeter has 103 RBIs. That's never happened, by the way, in the Atlantic League. 3 guys having over 100 RBIs. And 100 runs scored as the duo joins Telvin Nash from 2019 as the only players in Revs history to reach 90 runs and 90 RBIs, let alone 100 runs and 100 RBIs in the same season. Revs pitchers struck out 11 Ferry Hawks last night, marking the 7th time in the last 8 games that they've reached double-digit figures as a staff on strikeouts. So they continue on and on. Zach Mortz, by the way, pitched a great game last night. He's 2-0 now. They brought him up out of nowhere, Mark. And here's another guy that Rick Forney plucked from somewhere who's playing well, like Shed Long Jr., who's just hitting home run after home run. He came out of nowhere. So there you go. Next up, righty Nick Mikulacek is pitching tonight. He's 4-1 with a 2.81 ERA for the Revs, and he'll face the Hawk southpaw Onelki Garcia, who's 0-1 with a 12.60 ERA. As the series continues tonight, Revs fans can catch all the action right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK or 989WOYK.com, the York Revolution app, and Dugout TV beginning at 6:10 tonight. The Revs continue to play great baseball right now here in the month of August. Mark?
So a lot of people still reacting to the passing of Dolly Parton. It's interesting to see all the famous people, like I saw one from Stevie Nicks. I saw one from Don Henley, where they would sing like duets. So she would come in early and they would laugh. They'd go out to dinner, things like that. So just some interesting stories as far as that's concerned. And then we also learned the passing of J.P. Morgan, not the financier,
right,
but the woman who used to be one of the judges on the Gong Show.
I remember that, yeah.
Yes, and I couldn't ever quite figure out, kind of like Kitty Carlisle. I was like, so who are these? Who's Arlene Francis? Who are these people?
Right.
I don't know who they are.
Like you should know that they are of some great note, and you go, I don't know who the heck these people are. Yes, the people used to be on What's My Line and all that kind of.
Tell the truth and all kinds of things. I don't understand who these people are, but anyway. J.P. Morgan, she passed away yesterday. And we also learned about this guy.
Now, he was best known for a lot of colorful characters, including
this is,
Dr. Frankenfurter
Tim Curry.
in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, a role he first created on stage in London, eventually moving to Broadway. He also appeared in Spamalot on Broadway, nominated for a Tony 3 times. He won the award for his portrayal of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in the original Broadway production. His prolific career in film and television included more than 200 roles, often playing the villain as the butler in the movie Clue, the wizard in The Worst Witch, Long John Silver in Muppets Treasure Island, and Rooster in the movie version of Annie. British by birth, Curry lived near Hollywood, where he died at his home at age 80.
And who doesn't remember him as the hotel counter operator in Home Alone 2 in New York? Tim Curry.
A little cameo there.
Yeah, a little Tim Curry.
I think if I will forever remember him as It, the clown.
Yeah.
And It. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, that was frightening. By the way, you were mentioning about Dolly Parton. We talked about her yesterday, and one of the things, she was really a true businesswoman. She spent the last several years working with a hand-picked team to create a roadmap of projects that she wanted to see through even after she's gone. And her longtime manager said, quote, Dolly worked up until the day she died. She loved seeing her dreams come to life and loved knowing her work brought people joy. Many projects were in various stages of development. If you see unreleased music, products, books, experiences, and campaigns launched through the official Dolly Parton channels, you can have confidence in knowing that she placed her personal stamp on it. And here's a breakdown of what the fans expect in the coming months. Dolly's Tennessean travel stops will celebrate National Truck Driver Appreciation Week beginning September 13th. The Songteller Hotel and Dolly's Life of Many Colors Museum will have their grand opening on September 29th in Nashville. Dolly Dolls will be available online September 15th. Dolly's Cup of Ambition Coffee will launch online on September 29th and will hit stores in the spring. Dolly on the Holly is coming out this Holly season. It's unclear what it is, but maybe it's her version of Elf on the Shelf. The Broadway production of Dolly, a true original musical, will move forward as planned. Previews start in December, and opening night is January 19th, which would have been Dolly's 81st birthday. There's a 9 to 5 jewelry collection with Kendra Scott coming out in January. Dolly's dog treats are expected to come out early next year. There's also a bedding and home decor collection expected next summer. But wait, there's more. She's already teased that a Dolly Avatar show is in the works, but there's also a musical documentary, a biopic, a docuseries, a scripted series, and an animated Billy the Kid series. That's her children's book featuring a real-life French bulldog named Billy the Kid. So to say she had a few projects in the works would be the understatement of the year.
So the thing that I thought was kind of interesting about her whole experience is how many people she touched. It was just across the spectrum. It's kind of surprising. And, they talk about different days, like May the 4th be with you, for Star Wars. And one of the memes is could we make the September 25th her day? And, of course, if you say it out, it's 925.
Oh,
like
very
9
nice.
to 5, so, yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more coming your way with Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, who will take a look at what's going on around the world politically and the economy and more. All here on The Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Never a bad choice. Phil Collins. A remake of a song. This was a Supreme song one time?
Yep. We're still doing 1983?
Yep. Phil Collins had one of those unique voices that, you just kind of liked, you didn't like. I always thought he was really good. What was the group who used to be in Genesis? Was that it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a traditional voice.
No, he's not. But he had a certain way of singing that just, when he did Sisu Studio, I could never understand that song. I thought maybe they just were stuttering, but I wasn't sure.
Nah, it's just made up.
Yeah, there it is. Anyway, well, welcome back. Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning. And we are joined this morning by Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning.
So if we didn't have enough going on, we need to get a trade war going with Canada now. So, let's add to that a little bit. And does any of this make sense to you? Is Trump trying to even up some things that before had been unjustified in terms of what Canada was getting from us? Or is this just another pie plate to put on top of the stick and get it spinning?
Wasn't there a movie about this back in the 80s, Canadian Bacon or something like that with John Candy? And I think South Park did a whole thing on this where we go to war with Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, from a political standpoint, if you wanted to get more things that might lose you an election in November, you do this. But I'm failing to see where this is really working out well for us. The president says, I believe in tariffs, but to even up injustices from the past. But I'm having a tough time understanding how this is going right now.
Yeah, see, there's also people who believe the earth is flat, too.
Yeah.
We pay 75% more for aluminum in the United States than anywhere else in the globe due to tariffs and what's taking place. I cannot get my arms around this at all. There's been some great breakdowns as far as the numbers are concerned. And you talk about this, the trade deficit. And again, trade deficits are not a bad thing. It has to do with energy. It has to do with oil because of the type of oil that they send over here. But that is a much lower margin business than the stuff that we're selling them, like tech and services and phones and computers and all that stuff. It's a very high margin business. And it was a great comparison being made. Talk about the PE ratios. If it was like a stock, how much better we would be doing in regards to this. I don't know. Maybe he thinks that this is politically going to be a winning issue for him. I don't know. I mean, you see the cheerleaders on Fox, jumping up and down, thinking that this is awesome. But I don't think Americans are really buying it, especially farmers right now. Just kind of beside themselves when it comes to this stuff, and got the war going on, the higher price of fertilizer, the fact that their profits are down upwards of 50%. So again, I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time. And again, I'd like to understand it. I really would. I'd like to know, what's the thinking behind, having a war with one of your closest allies here right across the border. But nevertheless, it's going to continue. We'll see what happens with it. I saw the inflation went up 3.3% on the Fed's preferred inflation gauge yesterday. So core prices basically up 3.3% in July. However, and then they say GDP grew at 1.5% in the second quarter. But here is the one that jumped out at me. But consumer spending stayed strong. So we're continuing to spend. Now, is that because it's vacation season in July and people are going to do it no matter what? And they're saying nothing's going to hinder me on that. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, you have to eat, right?
Right.
And if the price of things are going up, then you're going to have to spend more money on the everyday items. I mean, that's a part of this as well. And even that number, the inflation number, to me is a bit of a fugazi, because if you actually look at the internals, the government is telling, in their numbers, they're saying that health insurance has dropped 33% over the past 5 years. Now, and I put out a challenge on my program.
Yeah.
I want somebody to tell me whose health insurance has gone down over the past 4 years. Okay, I'm not any takers yet.
Yeah, and that's because there are none. I mean, no one's going to go out and say, yeah, that health. Boy, have you noticed the health insurance went down, honey? No, I haven't noticed that. So, no, it's not. It doesn't work like that. So, anyway, that's something that needs to be fixed as well. We're watching the on and off again with Iran. It's 6 months now that we are observing. And no end in sight. And so there again is another, and then there's so many sentences, I guess, in our culture right now that don't have periods or exclamation points on the end of them. There are a lot of question marks, though. And I think a lot of people are really kind of just thrown off by that. They'd like to have a little bit of continuity and a little bit of calmness. What say you?
Oh, I agree. I think that, desperately seeking some sort of off-ramp. I was somewhat encouraged, but I've been encouraged in the past. I've been let down. Iran and Oman are kind of talking about getting the mines out of the strait and getting traffic up and going, because there's no traffic, but next to nothing going through at this point in time. Without a doubt, obviously we've used up a lot of our resources as far as our military is concerned. We've had bases in the region that were hit, which is making our supply chains a lot more difficult. Maybe we should just turn to soccer. We can call it a tie, and that's it, walk away. But again, that doesn't work too well politically.
When you look at other things that are around right now, if you did you said an assessment at the moment of where we're at and what we've been doing here, as far as the United States, as far as President Trump's policies, how would you assess all that so far? We also have this thing going with the Supreme Court right now over mail-in ballots just before the elections start, and can the U.S. Postal Service basically stop certain mail-in ballots from being mailed out? Of course, now there's a big suit on that today, like we needed something else to add to it. But what would your assessment be overall of the first almost 2 years now of the Trump administration?
Oh boy!
Sorry.
Again, I was highly, and I said I voted for him 3 times. And I was highly encouraged when he first came into office. But if it was a product that I was buying based upon you're going to do this, and this, I would be returning it to the store because I'm not getting those things. Yeah, close the border, and I'm happy about that. I think that's great. Again, I'm a big fan of trying to shore up elections and making sure that I don't have any problem with that. But that to me is, it gets lost in the sauce. The fact that we're over $40 trillion in debt, no end in sight. The Treasury Secretary is playing, twister with the bond market right now. And most people don't even understand the type of financial engineering that's going on. But that only works for so long. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a massive gash wound. It's eventually, your debt is you're going to have to pay interest on the debt based upon what people are willing to pay for it. You can only, best way to explain it, it's like trying to keep a beach ball under the water in a pool. Okay,
right.
Eventually it's going to pop back up. I mean, you can't hold it down forever. I mean, it's nonsensical. And, this is the reality where we're at right now. And, the bond market is going to be the thing that's going to, because our politicians are not going to do anything to get spending in check. The bond market's going to eventually have to force our hands because, it's unsustainable. We got to turn over this year almost $8 trillion in debt that we're paying under 4% on. Meaning that we're going to have to, again, we have to pay one credit off with another credit card, but the second credit card is going to have higher interest rates. Right. And that's going to cost us even more.
What do you make of this Meta agreement yesterday? They have to pay out $18 billion, and they're going to add stronger child safety measures to its Facebook and Instagram platforms. I guess how much time you can spend each night on this. They have different things. They have to be more aware of the content that's being put out and make sure you get that off there. It's a landmark legal settlement. It may not be over yet because there are a number of states that joined in on this. So this is kind of like the tobacco settlement we had a few years ago. And yet Meta may get hit with even more suits on this whole thing, on this idea that they were plotting to have teen social media addiction and had to settle claims from a number of states and still other ones pending out there. Your thoughts on this?
We knew this 15 years ago.
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, the whole, dopamine hits. Look, when this thing first came out, we knew all of this. Why wasn't it dealt with then? And I'll tell you why. It's, social media has been a grand tool for the people in Washington, D.C. to divide us and pit us against one another. Rather than trying to solve, problems as a country, the people in Washington, D.C., want us hating our next door neighbor. And social media is a great tool for that. Meta's going to pay up. They'll be fine. They're going to pay it out over time. It's kind of like, they're in essence a too big to fail company at this point in time. It's, the old like Goodfellas where, Henry Hill's explaining the whole system. It's like kind of like a police for wise guys, and you got to kick up the Paulie. That's what they're doing. They're kicking up the Paulie. The same way that the too big to fail banks do. No matter what they do, no matter how criminal it is, nobody goes to jail. They pay a fine and they walk away. Big deal.
Yeah. And will they make the changes that are necessary? We'll wait and see. They say, we got caught with our hand in the cookie jar. We'll make those changes, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how that goes down the line here. Or is this just a moment where everybody, pays the piper and gets out of town and everybody looks good and feels better? We'll wait and see. Chris, always good talking to you on a Thursday morning. Thank you, my friend. And I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll look forward to catching up with you next Thursday morning.
You got it. Have a great day.
Thanks, buddy. Take care. Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got birthdays straight ahead and other stuff, too, all here. You're talking about it on Main Street. We're talking about it on WOYK. I'm Gary Sutton, back with more right after this. And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Some nice, lovely, positive music to get you out of bed this morning from Breaking Bad.
This was the theme song to Breaking Bad. One of the best TV shows ever, I think.
I never watched one episode of that.
You never watched
Nothing.
The Pit?
Nope.
Breaking Bad?
Nope.
Game of Thrones?
Nope. Yeah. None of it. And I'm
Anyway.
a better man for it, frankly.
Are you?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I thought that from what you've said, they all sound like they'd be good series to watch. Now I'd have to go back and spend a lot of time catching up because there's so much.
No,
there.
it's even better because I think I think Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad both have just under 70 episodes.
Oh, good. Yes.
So you wouldn't have to wait. You
I'd
could
have to
just
lock myself in my house, and I'd be coming out,
you could just keep going
with binge watching eyes.
That's right.
Yes.
One after another. The Pit, however, is only 2 seasons.
Okay.
So anyway, Aaron Paul was one of the stars in Breaking Bad, not the Bryan Cranston role, but his sidekick, so to speak. And he is 47 today. Other birthdays, well, let me just delve into them. Caesar Milan. Do you know who he is?
He's the dog whisperer.
He is.
Yeah.
He's 57 today.
You thought you were going to get me on that. I actually
wasn't
knew
sure.
That. Yeah.
You're a cat lover, so I don't know if it's like
I know. I've seen Caesar.
Actress Tuesday Weld is 83.
I used to damn Caesar with faint praise.
She was
Sorry.
a very attractive woman.
You just went right by that.
Yeah. Sergeant Slaughter.
Sarge, remember him with the chair? Didn't he break the chairs over people's
I
heads?
don't
and stuff?
know. I always remember the
Yeah.
hat, the hat he had on.
Oh, yeah, I know.
He's 78.
Like a Canadian Mountie hat or
Yes,
something.
something like that. And the wife of Ringo Starr, Barbara Bach, is 80. And of course,
Gorgeous, by the way. And what she ever saw in Ringo, who would...
well, he's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Anyway,
Not the
she was a
greatest
Bond
looking
girl,
fella
by the
they
way.
ever came out. Yes, she was. And she's beautiful. Yeah, she was beautiful.
So here's something that happened, and when I heard about this, on one hand, I was kind of shocked, and on the other hand, it made total sense when you think about it. They've been trying to get around this, and it's a sport that's very violent, and there's no way to play it at that level without violence. And what violence gets you is lots of injuries. So you know what? Maybe, see what the NFL did.
The NFL is eliminating the Pro Bowl game after 56 years. The Athletic was first to report the news as the annual event designated for the game's best players in a particular season is no more. It will now only be an honor given to 88 players each year. The first ever Pro Bowl took place in 1951. It was once a full-fledged football game at the end of each season that pinned the AFC against the NFC. But as popularity went down and players began to opt out, it shifted to skills competitions beginning in 2022, which included a flag football game. The NFC won last year, which gave the conference the win in the all-time series with the AFC, with 27 wins and 26 losses. Tony Genualdo, Fox News.
Well, I was going to say they ended the Pro Bowl when they started playing flag football. From my but here again, it goes back to my whole idea about All-Star games. Give them the honor, end the games. We don't need them. No one cares about them anymore. No one cares about All-Star games on any level. Maybe baseball, and beyond that, the rest of them are a farce. And maybe basketball, just because the individials can show off and all that. But outside of that, I don't think there's any need for it.
That was those are, and I don't want to, non-violent. I mean, basketball is a rough game, but
it is.
But it's not like hockey and football. And I think that's what happened is the players didn't want to get hurt. So, you could see it in the line play. You could see it was just not.
Just shoving each other around.
Yes, they didn't want to get hurt. And I think everybody understands that. Eliminating it, however, seemed like a radical idea. But now, after a couple of seasons of the skills, which were interesting and fun.
What the market wants.
Yes.
Yeah, people don't want to watch it.
It's just easier. And think about all the money they'll save. And the honor is still there. They're still being named Pro Bowl.
I was sitting at a restaurant the other night, and I was watching, there was a news report, and then they had this report on coming about how many NFL players suffer from brain
CTE.
injuries. CTD, CTD.
CTE.
And I said to my wife, I said, what's CTD?
CTE.
Or CTE, rather. Yeah, CTE. But I said, it's amazing. But I said, you think about this. These guys are highly trained. They're in the greatest shape you could humanly be in anymore. We don't have these fat guys running around in the NFL like you said back in the 1950s and 60s.
That's right.
Smoking a cigarette after the game. These guys are like, they're unbelievable athletes. having collisions with each other, 60 or 70 or 80 times a game. And you're wondering, well, what could possibly go wrong there? Well, even with all the equipment and the safety stuff they put in, NFL players are coming out, with all kinds of injuries that are unbelievable.
It's all about the speed and the mass.
Right, exactly.
When you're slamming into somebody, if you, they had some feature. I was watching the Eagles Patriots game, and they were talking about a particular player that had no NFL experience. I believe he was from Nigeria. And I was telling Deb that Melada, the right tackle I beyeve he's the right tackle. He might be left tackle
cares?
by now. The key is that he had no NFL experience either.
Right.
He was 6'7" or 8", 340 pounds, and he could move.
Right.
And that's the key. When you get that mass,
great athlete.
height, that's it.
Yep.
And you pound somebody with that kind of weight and speed, you're asking for trouble.
And the very best athletes, really,
Yes.
that you could imagine, and then all the different things they put them through, and the strength and so forth. You're going to have people that are really subject to being hurt by the end. By the way, we were talking with Chris Markowski this morning about the Iran war, and what I read a piece today by George Petrus in USA Today about 6 months in 6 charts. Here's how the Iran war has affected you. And it's something to really think about. Number one, it costs you more to eat at home and in restaurants. I mean, the Iran war has caused food price increases as a consequence of higher costs for fertilizer and transportation. Number two, there you go, it costs more to fertilize crops. The disruption of freight through the Strait of Hormuz has cut into vital shipments of global fertilizer exports, notably urea and ammonia, 2 major nitrogen fertilizers. It costs more to drive. That's one of the things that we see most openly. Gas prices rose as oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz declined and stopped in some cases. Gasoline prices generally rise and fall with the price of crude oil, the principal cost for gasoline. And now, of course, the Houthis, a political religious faction in Yemen, announced a Red Sea blockade on July 20th. They control a narrow waterway known as the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, one of the world's most important oil shipping routes. So you have that. It costs more to fly now. Airline fares rose rapidly in the first months of the year, peaking at 17.5% in May, above February, in part because of jet fuel prices. The price of airline travel rose because jet fuel prices increased in the first weeks of the war. Jet fuel is refined from crude oil and is a major expense for airlines, as much as 30% of operating costs. I was learning a lot by reading this article. Airlines responded by raising prices, adding fuel surcharges, and offering fewer flights. It reduced faith in the U.S. economy. The Consumer Sentiment Index, a monthly survey of how confident Americans are about their own personal finances and the overall U.S. economy, fell 7.6% this August after 2 months of improvement. So our confidence in how our economy is doing fell 7.6% in this month. It also showed more overall pessimism about future business conditions and fears that inflation will erode purchasing power. It's already done some of that. We'll talk more about policy at 7:05 this morning when Joel Sears, our policy guy, gets ready to join us here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And then we'll find out what's going on a little bit later on this morning with Andrea Ryan on what's happening around the York area and beyond.
At 7:35, we have a special guest.
Yes, we do. We have the mayor of York. We got Sandy Walker coming in at 7:35 this morning. Looking forward to talking to her. She was with us last week. And then at 8:05 this morning, Corey Thurman, who takes a look at culture and sports. At 8:35, we got Aaron Anderson as well, sandwiched in around Andrea Ryan. All here on the Gary Sutton Show. Lots to do on a Thursday morning right here on WOYK, where it is 7 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You had me at hello.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Good morning, and welcome to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning, hour number 2, as we come to you live from Wellspan Park, right here in downtown York, happily on a Thursday morning. Another great day getting started here, and we hope you're having a great time as you get started with your day. But we really appreciate you joining us here on the Gary Sutton Show, the voice of Main Street in York County. We are the only live talk show anywhere in York County, and we love doing this every single day. Mark McKenzie with us, and this hour being brought to you by Barry Orchard. Barry Orchard is located right in the central market, and it's open 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. every market day, which is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. In fact, it is opening as we speak right this very minute. Yes, Mike and Chris DiGirolamo have created something really special at the Central Market with Barry Orchard. Quality meats and cheeses, Italian kinds of specialties in their freezers and their cases there. They've got unbelievable oils and vinegars. They've got a baked goods section that is off the charts. They've got a cannoli bar where they'll make homemade cannolis right in front of you there. Everything is fresh and scrumptious. And Mike and Chris are just two of the greatest conversationalists you ever come across. You know, Mike is straight out of New York, and that's where he goes to get a lot of the meats and cheeses. So you have the feeling of a New York deli when you're there. I mean, it is absolutely a fantastic place. They've got the mortadella and the Italian long hots. That's a necessity for any Italian market. But then they also do catering. Chris makes one of the great catering menus that you're ever going to have anywhere. They just do a wonderful job for you, and they are ready to help make your particular event a very happy specialty today. Maybe a homemade charcuterie board. We had one of those made by Chris one time with all the meats and cheeses and fruits and things like that on it, and olives, and oh my gosh, it was like a piece of art. So check it out today, will you please? And stop. A lot of people say, that meat and cheese place down there at the Central Market. Well, it's Barry Orchard's. Barry Orchard is ready to help you today to have just a wonderful day. They're on Facebook, Instagram. You can find them at Barry, B-A-R-I, orchard.com/market. And get in there and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you, and say hi to Mike and Chris and all the good people working there. You can come in the Beaver Street side, and it's right along the left-hand side, just past Hefty Lefties. But if you come in the George Street side or the Philadelphia Street side, come in there, work your way through, turn to the right, and come down along the wall. Barry Orchard is right there, and they've got some of the greatest foods you're going to want to have. Fresh stuff that you can put on your table at night. And again, ask Chris about catering your next event. They do a wonderful job. And they have all kinds of little specialties coming up there, too. Like I tried some of their Italian beef the other day, Mark. Oh, my gosh, it was off the charts. I haven't had Italian beef in a long time. But they do different things like that from time to time, and we'll keep you up to date on that. Barry Orchard, open right now, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., market days Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The proud sponsors of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show. With that, we turn to Joel Sears, our policy guy, who joins us here this morning. Good morning, Joel. How are you?
Doing pretty well, Gary. How about you?
Doing pretty well today, my friend. So you're always delving into the world of policy, and I know we've had an ongoing topic here of late, but wanted to see what you have for us this morning.
Well, I took the big plunge after Chris Markowski and you talked about the national debt last year.
Right.
The number is just about as unimaginable as anything I can think of in financial terms. $40 trillion is pretty hard to conceive of.
You know what's even weirder about that is how the short period of time it took to go from 39 to 40. Literally months compared to years overall. So I just wanted to interject that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it wasn't really that long ago, certainly in our lifetimes, that it was not even $1 trillion. So ask yourself whether this is a feature or a bug of the system. I came across a really fascinating analysis of this upward spiral. Conclusion was that it's really not a problem to be solved. It is the system working exactly as designed. How's that sound?
Interesting. You've got my curiosity piqued. Go ahead.
Well, the analysis identifies 4 key figures starting back in the the 1690s in England. A guy named William Patterson, who was responsible for conceiving the Bank of England.
Okay.
His genius was to get a bunch of merchants to bail out the king, who had found himself in serious debt and needed money seriously and had no way of raising it. And so he and his merchant buddies came up with a scheme to loan about 1.2 million pounds to the government. That's like 300 million today. But their innovation was that the loan would never have to be repaid. And that set the stage. It had an 8% annual interest rate. And to manage it, this Patterson fellow proposed the Bank of England. The gold went to the bank and the loans went to the government. And, you'd ask yourself, well, why would anybody accept this? Up to that point in time, financing the government was a pretty risky proposition. You might loan the money, they might pay it back, they might not pay it back, in which case, things might reset. Over time, other people might step forward and say, okay, I'll take a chance at this point. But if you could organize a bank to handle all this and to deal with the risk, what a great deal. In addition to which, there were bonds that could be traded. And it turned out that they were perceived as being better than money because they paid interest. Pretty neat deal. 1694, Parliament approved the scheme, and for the first time in history, debt became permanent.
Okay.
Not a problem to be solved, but a feature of the system. And, you can imagine what comes from that. This is brilliant if you're a banker. It's kind of catastrophic if you're a taxpayer, because where does the interest come from? It comes from the taxpayers.
Right.
It flows through the banks, but it comes from us. That same characteristic defines national debt around the globe today. Next came the Rothschilds. These were the bankers that were responsible for making the sovereign debt tradable. They didn't lend money directly to the government, but instead they bought the bonds at a discount, sold them at a markup to pension funds, insurance companies, wealthy individuals, and so on. The government got its money very quickly, and the Rothschilds collected the spread, and investors had a tradable asset. Pretty slick, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was on the other side of the Atlantic. Here, the tradition was because of the distrust of the federal government. We actually tried a couple of national banks. I didn't know that, but there was a first national bank and a second national bank that both failed. And I think it was documented that was mainly skepticism on the part of Americans who just did not like central management of anything, let alone their money.
Exactly.
But along comes an opportunity in the 1907 timeframe. J.P. Morgan personally organized a bailout for the federal government that resulted from the financial panic of 1907. And he and his cronies sat behind the closed doors and came up with this thing called the Federal Reserve System. They made it more palatable because there are 12 reserve banks, not one, even though one, the New York Fed, has more power than the others. But these were regional Federal Reserve banks that were owned by member banks. So it looked like it was in the private sector and not a government entity, even though many of the governors are appointed by the federal government, including the chair. So there's, over time, obviously, in 100 years or so since then, or 120 years since then, I think a tighter relationship, at least from a practical standpoint, between the federal government and the Fed. This notion of pure independence is pretty well gone. So that creates the framework for a Federal Reserve, doing essentially the same thing that the Bank of England does. Now then comes, in the 70s, the late 70s and early 80s, inflation is through the roof. And you might remember Paul Volcker.
Yep, I do.
And what his contribution to this whole scheme was 20% Fed rate. Now you can imagine that. You and I both lived through that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a mortgage that was an 11% mortgage and another that was a 14% mortgage. I can't even imagine how that would go down today, what that would do to the housing market. But it certainly did put the brakes on inflation. But the ripple effect was the international impact. By the time that all the other three guys who are responsible for this, with their principles deeply embedded in the financial system around the world, it made it very difficult. Here, the Fed rate in this country goes to 20%. Bonds around the world, and in particular it was Mexico, I guess, that really set the stage, were coming due. And let's say they had rates of 8, 9%, then they had to be refinanced at anywhere from 11 to 20. Mm-hmm. Not fun, not easy. So, horror of horrors, in August of 1982, Mexico defaulted. That had not happened before with sovereign debt. That should have triggered a global financial collapse, but American banks had lent most of the money, and there had to be some way of helping them retain their investments. So Mr. Volcker arranged a bailout through the IMF. They loaned enough money to keep the interest payments flowing, but not enough to pay off the debt. They were called structural adjustment loans. How's that for government?
Structural adjustment loans.
Yeah.
In other words, let's keep the debt going, but we'll plug the hole in the wall for the moment.
Exactly.
Okay.
That meant forcing spending cuts, austerity measures, privatizing state assets, opening markets to foreign investment. It was a pretty severe shock to the Mexican economy.
Right.
And, of course, devaluing the currency. So, essentially, what they did was give up their economic sovereignty in exchange for the money to keep paying the interest. Where did that go? Where did the interest go?
Yeah.
Just like it always did, to the bankers.
Right.
Now, whether you like that or not, that's the fact of the matter. Here we sit today, then, with $40 trillion in debt. The international network of loans and reloans is so complex, Gary, that a significant default anywhere in that system would collapse the system.
Wow. So where do we go with that then, Joel? It's kind of a wrap up this morning on this. On this segment of it. Where do we go with that, and how is that being paid back, if being paid back at all, or how do we deal with $40 trillion? I can't even get my head around what that even looks like, and I don't think anybody else can either.
Well, break it down. There's $40 trillion.
Right.
About half of that is owned by the American public. Mm-hmm. Pension funds, mutual funds, insurance companies, and even the Fed.
Right.
The bonds are seen as safe assets because they pay interest, about $1 trillion a year. So when you have that thing in your hand and you're viewing it as a source of income, it's hard to imagine what would happen if you didn't have it.
Why would you change it? I mean, that's really
exactly.
what you.
Why would you change it?
Again, going back to your idea that that's a system that's working the way it was designed to work, right?
Exactly, and it's so big now, and the interconnections are so intricate and so deeply embedded that it's virtually impossible to unwind it.
So am I reading this correct?
It's held by the government, Gary. Yeah. 20 in the private sector, supposedly. The other 20 by the government. Medicare trust fund, Social Security,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. Well, again, that's you and me. It just doesn't have our name on it.
So final question for you.
Everyone owes everyone.
Yeah.
It's a circular problem.
If you tried to change this system, would we have economic chaos beyond our wildest imagination? Am I asking a final thought this morning?
That is the final thought, and that's really the conclusion of the analysis, that it is absolutely impossible to change it, and to pay off the debt would cause a shrinkage in the money supply. That would cause deflation. If you look at it mathematically, if putting money into the economy creates inflation, well, then taking money out of the economy must produce deflation.
To be continued, my friend.
The nature of deflation is that when prices come down, especially across the economy, we stop spending, hoping that they'll come down even more.
Wow. To be continued, my friend. Yeah, thanks. I feel much more positive this morning. I have to go to my counselor now for an extra 2 hours. So there you go. Anyway, Joel, good breakdown of the foundation on where this all came from. But I think it's a really interesting segment there in the sense you say the system's working the way it's supposed to work. And, let's just talk about $40 trillion of debt. Oh, by the way, what's for lunch? That's kind of where we're at right now. Hey,
I think you put your finger on it.
I know. Hey, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it this morning. Always good stuff every Thursday. Appreciate all the hard work digging into some of this kind of stuff. Someone's got to do it, and you're just our guy, okay?
Well, thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Joel. Have a great rest of your week. Joel Sears here on the Gary Sutton Show. That's an interesting take on it, that the system's working the way it was supposed to, even though it's kind of sadistic when you think about it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got Fox News, or Fox Sports straight ahead here. We've got other stuff coming up here on news. We got a lot of things happening. A huge flood that over in Nepal that is just unimaginable. We'll tell you all about that too here straight ahead on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
All right, how about the last 24 hours for the Cincinnati Reds?
This is in the air, pretty deep left center.
Got a chance.
Going away back, Gilbert against the wall and gone! A grand slam for Eugenio Suarez.
And that's Reds television on the call of the Eugenio Suarez grand slam. Since he scored 7 runs in the 9th inning to stun the Giants in San Francisco, final score 10-9. Cincy now has a record of 3 and 1,917 when trailing by 6 or more runs in the 9th inning. Meanwhile, the 6-run lead was the largest ever squandered in the 9th inning by the Giants since at least 1901. But wait, it gets better. The Reds, after the game, placed Suarez on waivers. Teams now have 48 hours to claim him, who is owed just under $3 million for the remainder of the season. Again, crazy times in Reds land. In Atlanta, late fireworks had the home folks leaving happy.
Thomas is coming home. The unlikeliest of heroes, Hassan Kim, has his big moment.
That's Braves television on the call. Ha-Sung Kim wins it. Atlanta beats the Dodgers 6-5. L.A. looks to avoid the sweep later tonight. Heck of a pitching matchup in the series finale. Chris Sale for Atlanta, Yoshi Yamamoto for the Dodgers. College sports. The Big 12 has unanimously agreed to ban professionals from returning in all sports. The decision is in line with similar rules the Big 10 and SEC announced, although the Big 12 is the first conference to include all sports. And our apologies if you love the Pro Bowl. It is no longer. The NFL gets rid of it. For more scores, stories, and features, go to foxsports.com. I'm Jay Berman.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
Wow. Yeah. I'm really sad about the Pro Bowl going. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, welcome back to Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Rescue teams searched Thursday for hundreds of missing people along the Nepal-Tibet border right there in the mountains after the collapse of a glacier sent a deadly wall of water and mud several stories high, tearing through communities a day earlier. Videos of the disaster have been unbelievable. Mark was looking at some just here a moment ago. Showed people running before the floodwaters swallowed them up, washed out buildings and bridges. At least 273 people were killed. More than 1,300 are missing, including people from 30 different countries, foreigners and pilgrims who traveled to that region on religious reasons. And hundreds have been displaced along the Himalayan border. Just absolutely an unbelievable disaster here. As we said, people from more than 30 different countries are missing in this disaster. And
it is shocking.
Yeah.
And they had like very little warning. I guess they had, I guess this doesn't happen that often, but it's hard to believe how it just.
Well, you think of if a glacier collapsed, the immediate impact that would have on rivers and streams and I don't even know what else
here's
as
the
far
thing.
as the glacier,
It was way up high, so it's that speed. It started to pick up speed. It picked up debris, and it just became unmanageable. I saw it wipe away walking bridges that they had over, what was practically a trickle, and but wipe away bridges.
They had pictures of front loaders getting people picked up in the front of their, the front loader bucket,
the dump, but
and getting them out of there. And it's incredible, but just a horrible disaster there in the Himalayan border. Here's a guy, interesting guy in Alaska, a man who is serving time in a federal prison in New York, advanced on Wednesday from the primary for Alaska's lone U.S. seat. House seat. They have one House seat. Eric Hafner, who's a registered Democrat, also ran for the seat in 2024 and secured a spot on the general election ballot that November, despite a challenge brought by the Alaska Democratic Party. Now, Hafner pleaded guilty in 2022 to charges of making threats against police officers, judges, and others. He is set to be released in 2036. The leading candidate in the race are the incumbent Republican Nick Begich and independent Bill Hill, a commercial fisherman and retired educator. Hafner's success in the primary as one of the candidates moved on to the general election is almost certain to draw another legal challenge because the U.S. Constitution requires candidates to live in the state they will represent at the time of election. This guy is in prison in New York, and he's running in Alaska, in case you needed something else to kind of screw things up. In the candidate information he filed with the state, he listed the name Box Elder, South Dakota, mailing address, and New York phone number as his mother, Carol Hafner. Neither has any apparent ties to Alaska. Carol Hafner also is a failed prior candidate and ran again this year, this time in the state's U.S. Senate primary. Yeah, I think this one will probably get knocked down here before the end. Yeah.
Do you like Lucky Charms?
I've been known to eat it before.
How about Fruit Loops?
I hate Fruit Loops.
All right. Yeah. Well, check this out because changes are coming.
It's no magic trick. General Mills announcing it's removed artificial colors from all its American cereals, including Lucky Charms.
Frosted Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
And Trix. The Minneapolis company has shifted to fruit and vegetable-based dyes, as well as colors derived from spices like turmeric and paprika, to give its cereals their customary bright colors. General Mills says 90% of its U.S. retail products are now free of artificial dyes. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has urged U.S. manufacturers to remove artificial dyes from their products. Tom Rigotti, Fox News.
By the way, I don't know if you saw locally about the remains that were found the other day in West Manchester Township, 2013. Investigators used DNA testing to identify them as a guy named David Anthony Queen, 42, of Baltimore. So they had not been able to identify this guy, and that apparently he's been there since 2013, and they figured it out. So there you go. So just another thing that happened there today from a local standpoint. And, of course, in Eastern High School, they're still fixing Eastern High School's roof, and kids are doing remote learning on that because of the tornado that went through there last weekend. So lots of things going on here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. And, of course, coming up next, we check in on how York is doing, York City, that is, with the mayor of York City, Mayor Sandy Walker, who's going to join us for a chat at 7:35, all straight ahead on the Gary Sutton Show. And what else do we have, Mark?
Well, who's sponsoring this hour?
Oh, this hour being sponsored by Barry Orchard. Mike and Chris DiGirolamo. And I'll tell you, you got to stop up there, Mark. They have some of the best meats and cheeses you ever
All you
saw.
had to said mortadella. It's already on my list.
How about Asiago peppercorn? They've got Locatelli. They've got Fulvi Pecorino. I'd see. I'm not Italian, so I don't know all of those kind of things.
It's close enough.
Pecorino Calabrese, aged and young. I mean, they've got all different kinds. But, when you stop up there, you can also have a great conversation with Mike, with Chris. They've got baked goods. They got oils and vinegars of all kinds. They got a cannoli bar. And they can make an unbelievable event next time for you if you're having a get-together with the great charcuterie boards that Chris puts together. I mean, these things look like Michelangelo creating artwork. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Find out how you can do it all by going to Barry Orchard, that's BARI, orchard.com, or stop in and see them today. 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., market days, they're open, and today is one of those, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., they're open right now, and they are ready to see you, chat with you, and provide some of the great goods they have right there, including in their freezers, some of the wonderful Italian dishes that they have as well. All right there at Barry Orchard. It is going to be just an absolute festive occasion for your taste buds, believe me, when you stop by there, and you'll feel a lot happier after you get done. They've got it all for you at Barry Orchard, the proud sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Back with Mayor Sandy Walker right after this. Prince coming back, huh? Good stuff.
Year. 1983, good year for music, and this was a huge hit.
Love this song, yeah.
1999.
That was a good one, yeah. Here we go.
I was dreaming when I wrote this. Forgive me if it goes astray.
But when I woke up this morning, could have sworn it was Judgment Day.
It's had a certain beat, really got going.
Sky was all purple, there were people running everywhere. Trying to run from the destruction, you know I didn't even care.
And he was very small in stature.
He was, man. I read where he was a heck of a basketball player.
Never underestimate someone by the way they look.
Exactly. Here we go. There you go.
And then it came and went before you know it.
Yeah, he did. He passed away very early, and
1999 also came and went.
Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning. We're at 7:36, and we are honored to have with us this morning Mayor Sandy Walker, the mayor of York, PA. And good morning, Mayor. How are you?
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Now, she calls me because she used to be in our AAU program years and years ago. And Sandy was, a lot of people don't know how good a basketball player you were, and you went on to play, I believe, in college as well. So you had a little, So not only can she be the mayor of a town, she can post you up pretty good too. So it's it's pretty good. But great to have you in this morning, Mayor. It was good to see you at Pack the Park for Kindness last week. We do have an interview up, by the way, right now on some of our social media at Gary Sutton Show, and also Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, so you can see my chat with the mayor. It was really an uplifting kind of chat. But so you've had a little time now, mayor of York. Did you ever get used to hearing that behind your name at all?
No. Sometimes it is just surreal, and I have to get a close reality check. Just like, okay, yes, you are the mayor of the city of York. So it's an honor to serve, but sometimes it just seems surreal.
Do you, is it what you thought it would be now as you came into it, you looked at it? I mean, you served in other areas of government here in York before you got to that point, so it wasn't like you were unaware of what things the mayor did. But how different is it from actually doing it now after having seen it kind of from the outside looking in?
Well, I knew it was going to be a challenge. I didn't realize it would be this challenging, just with the situations that we're facing as municipal government here in the city of York. I love the fact that I'm able to represent our community and all of the wonderful community events that happen, the day-to-day operations. A lot more challenging than I thought, but we're trying to build a good team to help us get through the challenges.
As you look at being a mayor of a city, and cities all over the country are facing challenges right now, Mayor, so York is no different, although each one has unique problems, obviously. But as you look at York right now, if you classified the top three things that you're having to deal with right now, in a general sense, I'm not getting into all the specifics, but what would be the top three things you have to deal with on a daily basis?
For us, it's really looking at our financial status. The city of York is currently outstanding with audits, so we are trying to complete our 2020 audit. There's a lot of challenges that come with that. Funding is at risk when it deals with the state, and so we're really using external supports to help us with our financial state, just to let us know exactly where we are, or to the best of their ability. Public safety is always an ongoing issue. Right. Fortunately, we have seen a decrease, and that's part of the trend on a national level when it comes to violence. But any life that's lost is one life too many. So public safety is always a challenge. And then when it comes to our public works, quality of life, it's an ongoing issue, and that's the most prevalent communication that comes from residents is the quality of life. Our streets, are they clean? Are our streets paved? Are they smooth? You know, those type of things. So I would say those are the top three issues that we deal with on a continuous basis when it comes to municipal government.
You and I were talking last week a little bit, and I really got a lot of great information just listening to you. But, you know, one of the things that happens with cities is that you're constantly fighting your way out of a hole. You have to take care of pensions and things like that in terms of funding. You know, our people in the fire departments, in the police, and so forth. They are necessities to the community. There's no doubt about it. But funding that I don't know. Can you ever get ahead as a city having to deal with that on a regular basis?
Unfortunately not. It's an ongoing issue. It hits our budget extremely hard. And when it comes to our police and fire, they take up the majority of our budget. So when I was on city council, administration brought to us the proposal to sell the wastewater treatment plant. Some of those proceeds have went towards pension costs, so that has been helpful. I don't necessarily know what state we would be in if we didn't have those funds available, but those funds are limited, and we're working with financial advisors to help us develop a plan so we can make those funds last as long as they can.
We're talking with Mayor Sandy Walker this morning of York, Pennsylvania, and Mayor, so we talk about the things you're having to deal with every day. What are some of the initiatives that you came in with? You said, okay, here are some of the things I want to change. Here are some of the things I want to get going. What are some of those things right now that you're kind of getting planted in there that are hopefully going to germinate along the time during not only your administration, but in future years in New York?
So we have our 6 and 26 initiatives, and that focuses on quality of life, our public safety, our young people, our seniors. And each year of my administration, we will add one additional strategic priority. So in 7, 2027, and 8, 2028, and so on 9, 2029. Right now, we've been able to really present an agreeable ARPA allocation. We have to spend the rest of the American Rescue Plan dollars by December 31st. So right now we have a senior rehab program that is open to senior residents up until September 1st. And that's part of our Healthy Homes initiative. We had the York Youth Pathway, which is an ongoing initiative for our young people. And we're focusing on young adults 18 to 21, trying to guide them to careers in public service. We also have our Strong Block, Strong York Neighborhood Association engagement program that we will be launching next month. So we're really looking to get our community re-engaged and try to offer some initiatives and incentives that residents will kind of like to fire back up and get excited about being involved.
How hard is it? I think and you may correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think I read somewhere there's 37 different neighborhood associations here that kind of make up York City. How do you get them all kind of talking on the same wavelength and so forth? Because each of those different neighborhoods have different concerns, I know.
Well, one of the issues is that we don't have active neighborhood associations in the capacity that we would like. So as of now, there's about 4/5 neighborhood associations or similar types of groups.
Okay.
In the past, there was about 14 or 15. And so we understand current day economy, the dynamic of families are completely different here in the city of York. And so we want to try to re-engage residents, and that's part of our Strong York Strong Blocks program, where we're hoping to receive some additional private financial support and to offer incentives for residents to get involved. We understand time is limited. As I said, the family dynamic is not the same. And so many might be stretched and they can't volunteer like they used to. And if we're able to offer some type of financial stipends, we're hoping to get some more engagement.
You know, years ago, back in the 1960s, when I was actually a young man, we came to York for everything. I lived out in Manchester, and, it was 7 miles to come into York. It was like going to Oz, to see the wizard, which would have been you, by the way, today. But anyway, but the idea was he came to York for everything. I came here for my music lessons. I came here for my clothing. I came here for, to go to the movies. I came here for everything. And that obviously changed when we moved out to suburbia there in the late 60s, early 70s. We started moving out. Now the question is, what does York want to be when it grows up? And we see people putting shops in there, and there's boutiques, and we've got government, and we've got like the Revs here at the stadium where we are. You've got different groups starting different things. We've got like a little candy place up here in the corner in the middle of the square. We've got a new hotel across the street, the Mural Hotel. Different things going on. What does York want to be from your vantage point when it grows up right now, Mayor Walker?
I want it to be a place where our residents will want to continue to work, to live, and to play. I also want the city of York to be the center of our county, where residents in York County want to come to York City to support our local economy, to collaborate with partnerships. And that's the continued vision that I want to move forward. We are a municipal government, and so our resources are limited. And the message that I've been trying to get across is that the city of York is a partner. So anyone that wants to collaborate, if they have ideas, we're willing to meet. And then we're also willing to continue to support our local businesses and also the initiatives that are happening in downtown York. That is tourism, and that's why individuals, not only city residents, but outside in the county and out of state, come to the city, is for the tourism. So we want to continue to support those initiatives that help hospitality, help retail, all of those local initiatives.
A lot of businesses left town back in those days, and obviously a large tax base left town in those days. How do you make up for that? I heard you say like tourism, and I know we're doing an awful lot with downtown New York and places like that to try to attract more tourism. And I think there's a lot of reasons to come to York. I think there's, I'm a guy that uses York a lot. I come down here for the market, for baseball, for government, for restaurants. I mean, there's a lot of things down here that I really like, and I know people are working forward. But how do you get that tax base back there again, Mayor Walker, in terms of sustaining that kind of growth that you're talking about?
Well, one is through development. We have hosted round tables for our developers, also affordable housing roundtables. But the partnerships and the collaborations, when we're getting the message across that we want to be a partner, we don't want to make it difficult for businesses to come to York and for developers to come to York. And so if you have been in the city, you have seen the development that's happening when it comes to housing. We have statewide partners on Beaver Street, not too far from the Red Stadium, that is almost finished with their development. We've also reestablished our pilot program, and that's an initiative to reach out to our nonprofit organizations to request that they pay in lieu of taxes. They're tax exempt, but every individual, every business in the city uses our public services. Right. And so in that space, if they're willing to pay something, that helps us as well. We're very limited when it comes to our tax base here. And so even with our borders, when it comes to Route 30, a lot of the businesses don't fall in the city of York. And so we have to get creative. We want to continue to send out the messaging of the partnerships and the collaboration and the support from our economic development department. And that's how we can approach it the best way from the municipal government end.
I know you never thought the job would be easy, but it sounds like a lot of pie plates spinning all at one time. It's got to be dizzying at times for you. Final thoughts this morning.
Well, so we will take it day by day. I always say we focus on the positive, and we make sure that our residents and our stakeholders know that we are solution-oriented. I can talk about challenges all day, but no one wants to hear about that. They want to hear how we're going to resolve that. And so each and every day, we know that we need expertise to help us support moving forward, and we're also willing to collaborate with any community partners or stakeholders that want to help the city of York move forward. So we're solution-oriented.
And like a great basketball player, you know the game has 4 quarters. You might be in the first quarter right now, but hey, the score's not over yet, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Sandy, great having you in this morning, and wonderful of you to take time. We look forward to kind of checking in with you along the way here. But thank you for all you're trying to do here for York and to make it just a wonderful, positive place, and a lot of good things happening. You know, we talk about the challenges, but a lot of good things happening too, and we want to make sure we're aware of that as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mayor Sandy Walker here with us this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Just a great person. Back in the day, Mark, she was in our program. She just one of the most positive basketball players and people and students that you ever wanted to meet in your life. And, of course, she and her dad did a lot with Sandy Walker providing a place for veterans to stay up here at Sandy's house. So,
what position did she play?
She was a forward. She was tall and I'll tell you what, she knew how to play. She was really, really good. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot more coming your way here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Still more news, lots of it here this morning. One of the stories that is out there that we have not talked about a lot, except with, I think we talked with Tim Barker the other day about this, and also Andy Harold. And it's about the idea of you're not guilty by reason of insanity, okay? The NGRE kind of thing, or NGRI kind of thing. In this Lindsay Clancy case, and if you haven't been watching this, it's been closely watched in the media. Triple murder trial up in Massachusetts by mother Lindsay Clancy, who killed 3 of her kids. And they were set to deliver their final words to the jury today. Okay. But Clancy is 36. And she's facing 3 murder charges in the January 2023 deaths of her 3 children, Cora, 5 years old, Dawson, 3 years old, and Callan, 8 months old. At the family's Duxbury, Massachusetts home, she has pleaded not guilty to all 3 counts. Now, prosecutors allege that Clancy planned the killings by sending her husband out to do errands and then strangling the children to death with exercise bands while he was gone. After the alleged killings, Clancy cut her wrists and neck and jumped out a second-story window, leaving her paralyzed. The prosecution rested its case on August 17th after calling more than 70 witnesses, including Clancy's husband, Patrick Clancy, and medical providers that treated her in the lead-up to the killings to the stand. 70 different witnesses called. Clancy's defense attorney, Kevin Reddington, argued that Clancy is not guilty because she was suffering from postpartum depression and psychosis at the time of the killings. Before resting his case, Reddington called 10 witnesses, including Clancy's mother and a psychologist who testified that he believes, based on his meetings with Clancy after the killings, she had no appreciation for the wrongfulness of her act. Questioning the final rebuttal witness for the prosecution, forensic psychiatrist Gregory B. Sadoff, wrapped up on August 26. Sadoff told jurors he believed Clancy had the capacity to distinguish right from wrong on January 24th of 2023 and is thus criminally responsible for the killings. Judge William Sullivan then sent the jury home and told them to return for closing arguments on August 27th. Sullivan said he will give the jury instructions on the law they must apply in the case, and they will be able to start their deliberations on that day. And so that is today that they'll come back in. Jurors must decide, and here's what they have to decide: whether Clancy is criminally responsible for killing her children, more commonly known as an insanity defense. A person is not criminally responsible for their conduct if they have, quote, a mental disease or defect, and as a result of that mental disease or defect, lacks the substantial capacity either to appreciate the criminality or the wrongfulness of her conduct, or to conform her conduct to the requirements of the law, according to a definition previously read in court by Sullivan. You've heard all the evidence, Sullivan told the jurors, but you haven't heard the arguments from the attorneys, and you haven't heard, like I said before, the law that you're to apply. So you still have to keep an open mind. And so there you go. So they're going to come back in today, and the jurors are going to hear the final arguments today, and then they're going to sit down and deliberate whether or not this lady was criminally responsible for the death of her 3 children, ages 3, 5, and 8 months, or whether she was legally insane. And it is important to understand that in the state of Massachusetts, the lawyers have to basically prove that she wasn't insane. Okay, and so they have kind of an interesting thing. In Pennsylvania, it's different, as you heard Tim Barker explain the other day. But in Massachusetts, Mark, this is going to be a very interesting case to watch what happens with the verdict here in the next few days.
Yeah, the evidence is really not
in question.
Not at all.
No.
So that's what makes this very interesting, in that the lawyers are going to have to put some perspective to it, and that is where the if you can call it insanity defense, where that's going to come into play, and because it seems like it's an unthinkable crime.
Right.
What mother would do that? So it might even be, self-fulfilling in a way. It's like, well, isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing something that is not That is hard to believe.
So the question is, does she go to jail?
Right.
Or does she go to some other institution here for help and all that kind of thing? And there, obviously a lot of people are sitting there saying she killed 3 kids. That's the hard part to get by.
Are they doing this? Is the sentence a separate thing?
The sentence will be a separate kind of thing after
hearing.
this.
Yeah.
What you have to do right now is decide guilty or innocent. And again, guilty or not guilty by reason of insanity. It's not so much innocent, but not guilty by reason of insanity. And then based on that, then you'd have to go to the penalty stage of the whole thing.
Yeah.
By the way, this hour has been brought to you by Barry Orchard, located right here in Central Market. It's open right now, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. on market days, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Mike and Chris DiGirolamo, I'll tell you what, they've got a market there that will make your mouth water. From all kinds of Italian delicacies and their freezer cases and so forth to meats and cheeses that are freshly brought in from New York. They've got oils and vinegars that have all kinds of wonderful taste there, to baked goods, to a holy cannoli bar. I was just stuttering because I was thinking about it. All of that right there available. You can find them at barryorchard.com. That's BARI, orchard.com on the web. Or stop in and see them today, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come in the Beaver Street side. They're along the left wall. And say hello to Mike and Chris DiGirolamo and ask them also about your next party and the charcuterie board on that. Coming up next, Corey Thurman, former pitcher for the Rebs, is with us here on the Gary Sutton Show, where right now it's time for news. It's 8 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You make me want to be a better man.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
That is the greatest line a guy could have for a woman ever. You make me want to be a better man. Jack Nicholson, and as good as it gets. My wife does that to me all the time, Debbie. Makes me want to be a better man. But I wish we could send that other stuff to her about you're great for the community, you're a brilliant mind, and all that. I'm not sure she believes any of that about me. But anyway, this is the Gary Sutton Show on a Thursday morning right here on WOYK. So proud to be coming to you live as the only talk show here in York County. And we are right here at Wellspan Park in the middle of downtown York. And we're very proud about that, too. We love broadcasting from downtown York. This hour brought to you by Augie's Joint. Yes, Augie's Joint, located right there in the Central Market. Also, inside the Beaver Street door, you come in there, and I'll tell you what, it has become lunchtime central. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., they're open every day, and people are backed up waiting to get those great sandwiches, including the Gary Sutton Show burger, which is just a fantastic burger or double burger, if you'd like, with onion chutney, Augie sauce, cheese, onions, and this brown mustard, and it is to die for. I mean, I'm telling you what, it is a great sandwich. But rather than just brag about that, the Augie's Doggy, the Angry Cheesesteak, all the different kinds of unique hot dogs that Augie puts together. You know, Augie, by the way, is a Baltimore City policeman who started this as kind of a secondary thing. Well, I'll tell you what, people are flocking there, and they are busy at lunchtime every day, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday at Augie's Joint. Again, come in the Beaver Street side, or if you come in the George Street side, walk straight across, and then down the aisle, you'll see Augie's right there at the door at the Beaver Street side. And they've got all kinds of things from buffalo chicken cheesesteaks to barbecue chicken cheesesteaks to Swiss room cheesesteaks to the classic cheesesteak to the angry cheesesteak to the not so slightly annoyed cheesesteak to the Augie's Doggy, one of the great chili dogs of all time. And you can upgrade your menu and add a combo with tater tots, cookies, a drink, all right there at Augie. Sit down and have a great time as you watch the world go on by, and it's just a wonderful place to be. Augie's Joint every single day. I go there all the time. I love it, and you will too. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, Augie's Joint, the proud sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show. Don't forget, you can also weigh in on the trade war between the United States and Canada by texting us at 833-478-4729 or going to @Gary Sutton Show on Facebook, our homepage, where, by the way, I have a number of the interviews I did last week on kindness with a lot of our local officials, from Tim Barker to Paul Minnick to Sandy Walker, who was just on with us a few minutes ago, and you can check that out as well. @Gary Sutton Show on Facebook. Check all that out here this morning. With that, we turn to Corey Thurman right now. Former pitcher for the Revs here for 7 years, a Hall of Famer here. Also former Major League pitcher and a guy who kind of became infatuated with York here, made it his home. He's a school board member with the Central York School District and has his own business, and he's with us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, son? How you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing great. It's good to have you aboard this morning. You know, it hit me as you've been going up over the years and playing, you know, in professional sports as a major league pitcher and now here, you know, as a pitcher in the Atlantic League. And then later on, man, the effect that social media has had, and I'm looking particularly right now at women's sports. I can't go through a day where I don't hear something about Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham or the WNBA or what's happening. I mean, social media has changed the score of the game, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, social media has changed everything. Like, it's one of those things that now athletes and everyone, in fact, has a platform to say what they want. Now, this is the one thing. It's just like Herm Edwards said to his players back when this was becoming more prevalent. with text messaging and everything, always rate it again before you press send. Always look at it again before you press send. Once it's out there, it's out there. And even you delete it, they can always go back and find it. And so it's just those certain things right there. And people got to understand that that's what it is. That's why I really don't do social media. I just text and do what I got to do. But it's one of those things that my wife does it because my daughter does it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that we want to know what's going on and keep tabs on it. But I always tell my daughter, hey, man, watch before you press send. Rate it again. Make sure it's something that you want to be attached to your name.
You know, it's interesting, though, when you watch social media, and I think you have a good cautionary thought there that a lot of people put a lot of stuff out there, but the content, before I kind of get into it, I kind of rate the content. Where's it coming from? Like yesterday, they had all kinds of information out about Dolly Parton. The last 2 days. And there's going to continue to be a lot of information coming out about Dolly Parton. There's a lot of things that are very factual that are good to read. And then I read something yesterday, I was telling Mark this morning, where someone said Dolly Parton was ruthless in this one situation. And I looked at it just briefly. It was garbage. I mean, it was really just somebody who just had to have something negative to say. And I'm thinking, wait a second. That doesn't really play well, but you have to be, as a reader, as a user, as a consumer of social media, whether it's about sports or about, culture in general, you got to be really, really careful and really discern what's being put out there, right?
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing with people that they don't understand. They hide behind that screen, whether it's their computer screen, their cell phone screen, they hide behind it. And that's why, like, when people say this anonymous source in sports or this anonymous source said this is going on in the locker room or the clubhouse, and I'm like, hold on, time out, put your name on it. Put your name on it. If you really feel that kind of way, own it. And I'm like, I have no problem with it if you feel that way and you own it. But I hate when people say anonymous and hide behind the screen to say something negative when it's only been positive. There's always got to be somebody that wants to be the pessimist in this world. Why not be optimistic? There's people out there who think the glass is half empty. Think of it as half full. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. But just some people are like that.
Corey, as I look at the Atlantic League, kind of switching a little bit right now, the Revs are having this ridiculously great year. I thought last year was pretty good. This year, they got the leading hitter in the league, Brian Ray. But what's amazing is he's got 19 homers, 107 RBIs. That ties a record from back a few years ago. I think Nowak had that record.
Nowak.
And then you got Nick Dunn, who's got 23 homers, 104 RBIs. He's about to break the record as well. And then you got this guy, first baseman Jacob Teeter, 21 homers, 103 RBIs. I mean, the numbers are staggering as far as the hitting right now in the league. And, of course, those three guys are hitting 351, 337, and 325 respectively. And then you throw in Otasaka as well. He's batting over 300. He's at 332. What's happened to the pitching here in the Atlantic League? Talk to me a little bit about that.
You know what? That's a very good question because everything is cyclical when it comes to things like this. And, like, we're talking about how the hitters and everything are taking over with the game. It's one of those things where it's like, I think the hitters are more on the caliber of being closer to being able to handle the AA, AAA,
right? Maybe even majors,
Mexican League, winter leagues. They're closer than the pitching. The pitching is more, in my opinion, when I look at it, especially with all these scores going on, the pitching's more high A ball. Maybe a little bit of AA strength in there individually. I'm not saying everybody, but what I'm saying is the hitting is a higher caliber. It's more double and up, and then the pitching is more double and low.
Now,
never had to split it.
Why do you think that's changed? Because I remember when the league first started, people said, well, the hitting's like AAA and the pitching's like double to AAA. And so a lot of people said it was pretty close. But now it looks like the hitting's kind of double to AAA, and then the pitching is, as you said, is more single A. What do you think happened? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is that when people are doing this to pitching, because you got to think about that, it all starts with MLB and what they're doing. They're going younger.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like back in the day when I was coming up, it was one of those to where they wanted to have more veterans there. You see what I'm saying? Right. Now they're not worried about veterans there. Come on up if you're 21 and you're good. We'll keep you. We'll get you on the cheap, and then we'll sign you to a long-term deal. Boom, let's do this. Back in the day, it was like you had to fight even to get to big league spring training. Because you think about it, I got to the big leagues at 23, and I had to go every single step, you know what I mean?
Right.
Including winter ball. I had to go every level, every step, every instructional league, every Arizona fall league, Venezuela winter ball. I had to go those. And then I had to get Rule 5 and traded to Toronto to be able to get there to make the team. But that's still one of those situations where guys are now, it's like, if you're good enough to play and you're cheaper than that, now, when I say that reverts back to this, everything's a trickle down. So it's going to trickle down to the minor leagues. It's going to trickle down to the independent leagues to where everything is just getting younger. So there's not a lot of veteran presence anymore. It's like we were talking about the other day. There's no, Edgardo Alfonso's or Carl Everett's in this league anymore. There's, like we had like Hendrickson, myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Brett Tomko. You're not bringing these guys to this league anymore. Think about it. The pitching, you don't have, like, is there one pitcher that played in the big leagues here? You see what I'm saying? I don't know, but it's one I'm talking about through all the teams. It's like you don't have that as much. Every team always had at least 2, maybe 3 guys in their rotation or top end or the back end of the bullpen that were former major leaguers for a pretty decent amount of time, at least a year or 2.
Well, and even the major leaguers who were like Andy Etchebarren being the head coach. Then you had like Tippy Martinez was your pitching coach. You had
Chris Boyle.
Al Bumbry was a hitting coach. So you had kind of a Baltimore feel there, but that the league has changed in that regard over the years, where it started as kind of that, and then you had, as you said, major leaguers coming up and down through, maybe leaving the major leagues, heading on down, or maybe with a chance to play again, and they play the Atlantic League. That whole makeup has changed an awful lot. Final thoughts this morning on that?
Yeah, no, you just said it perfectly, man. Like, I can only piggyback on that because that's what's happened. When I came to the Atlantic League, it was already a big thing. You know what I mean? It was like, this is the premier league, so you can get yourself in this league and go back to AA, AAA, and even the big leagues from here. And it's just like we're not seeing that as much anymore because it's not the veteran presence and the older guys. And, like, they're not stop-gapping and plugging and playing. They're just taking their guys with the organization and developing.
No, that's a great point. And I think that it is younger. You do have that major league affiliation where you get into the major league programs, and the Revs have sent like 9 guys this year into, major league programs. And yet at the same time, in fact, one guy's even going on to Toronto to pitch. But it is a lot different than it was to begin. It's not say it was bad. It's just say it's different. Hey, Corey,
it's different.
Always good talking to you on a Thursday morning, my friend. Thanks so much for taking the time.
You got it, son. Talk to you soon, man.
Have a great rest of the week. Take care. Corey Thurman right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And just around the corner, Andrea Ryan is all ready to tell us what's going on in York. There's a lot of things happening around York and York County, and she'll update you on all that next here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
First offering, he swings, drives one the other way, deep left field. Decker is back at the track. It's gone! Shed Long Jr., an opposite field home run into the trees in left. He's got a 2-home run night, and it's his 13th of the year. They tack on one more here in the 9th. It's 9-1.
And the Revs continue to beat up on Staten Island, which is what you're supposed to do when the team only has 18 wins for the year. But they won 9-1 last night, and Zach Moritz pitched another great game. The Revs had over 10 strikeouts again last night on the other team. And so they are continuing to win, and they have to because Long Island beat Hagerstown last night, the first half champions, 18-3 in Long Island. So the Revs continuing to hold the best record in the Atlantic League, 2-0. By 2 games, 2-0. What the heck am I thinking of? 2 games. And they also are up right now 4 games in the North Division with, I think, like 13 games to play. And so they'll be back home here next week to play you-know-who, Long Island. And so some big ones coming up. With that, we turn this morning to Andrea Ryan, who is the senior marketing manager at yorkpa.org. And you can check out yorkpa.org this morning as she goes over some of the big things going on here in the York area. And she was in attendance here last week. I didn't get a chance to talk to Andrea a whole lot. Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
I'm great, Gary. Good to talk to you today.
I got to meet you last week for a moment, you and your husband, and but you were here, and you were right here with the Revs last week, so in attendance. I know you're kind of a Revs fan, too.
Yeah, what a great game that was, and a wonderful evening, celebrating positivity.
A lot of fun that night. The Revs winning, I think, 11-6 that night on Pack the Park for Kindness, but you're always kind no matter what. I mean, you don't need to be in the park. You're kind out there all the time. And I know you're looking at all kinds of things that are happening around us. So let's get to it right now this morning. What do you have on your list this week?
Well, here's an interesting one. If you've never seen how quality wood furniture is made, you can take a wood shop tour at George's Furniture. And that's just over in Marietta, not too far.
Okay.
And they're doing tours Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2. You can just show up unless you have a group of 10 or more. And they've got craftsmen on site, making furniture that's made to last the old-fashioned way.
It's located at 9 Rikes Church Road in Marietta, and George is, strangely enough, the George's Furniture, doing all this stuff. I love to see kind of stuff like this on how people make wood furniture. It kind of harkens back to another era, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, there's so many great things made here in New York, PA, and Marietta and points surrounding, and it's fun to go see how things are done the old-fashioned way instead of, stuff that you throw away.
One of the other things that's happening right now, and I know today is one of those days, Chief Uncas River Discovery Boat Tour. I got to get down to that.
You do.
Yeah, it's such a neat old boat, and I'd love to get down there and go on that tour. I saw they happen weekly on Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday until October 25th, right?
Yep, you got to get your tickets in advance. It's a good sized boat. The tickets are limited, and so is the season. Sadly, my goodness, it's the end of August already. So
I know, it's ridiculous. It's going too fast. So what else is happening right now?
Well, tomorrow's Fourth Friday with Justin Fava and the King George Speakeasy, and that's on the lower level of Teutones.
Yes.
That's
another place. 10. Another place. I shamefully say I have not yet been.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Have you been down?
I have. It's a hidden gem. It's really neat. It's not too big down there. Great music, great cocktails. It's a wonderful scene. You got to check that out.
I've not heard Justin Fava before. What kind of stuff does he play? I know he's a guitar player, but beyond that.
Yeah, so he's acoustic guitar. He's been writing some of his own songs, I think, from a pretty early age, I think 16 or something. And, he's built quite a following. So he's there every fourth Friday.
Okay. So that would be fun to get down and hear Justin play a little bit, or it's acoustical guitar. So there's another thing you can do. So keep lining me up here. What's going on?
Well, the city of York is hosting a Martin Luther King Jr. street dedication at Penn Park on Friday, and that's at there's a walk at 10 and 11 a.m. They're having the dedication and a special program commemorating the 63rd anniversary of historic I Have a Dream speech.
Yeah, just one of the great speeches of all time. That's out at 100 West College Avenue right here in York that's happening. But, that speech, and it's free, by the way, I guess that starts at 10 a.m. Tomorrow, if I'm correct on that. And, that speech was really interesting because partway through, Mahalia Jackson, who was his favorite gospel singer, he used to call her on the phone, by the way, and he'd have her sing him songs when he was on the road at some of the difficult things he had to do just to kind of calm him down. She was there that day singing at the Washington Monument, or at the Lincoln Memorial, rather, and there were 100,000 people. And in the middle of it, she said, "Tell him about the dream, Martin." And he went into this oratory that wasn't written down. Now, he had used parts of it before, but he goes into that whole I have a dream thing. I mean, so inspirational. It's absolutely incredible. So that'll be a great event tomorrow at 10 a.m. To talk about one of probably the great speeches of all time here in the United States.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that. So that was
You see what you
cool
get in this
to-
show,
cool to learn
Andrea?
today.
Yeah. You see what you get in this show? You get a little extra added meat on the bone there. You provided
Love
the
it.
meat, and we just went at it. So what else is happening on Friday and beyond?
Well, on Saturday from 10 to 6, go downtown and check out the Get Crafted Fine Art, Fine Craft, and Spirits Festival.
Okay.
And that's at the beautiful Royal Square Mural Park in downtown York. And it's the second year for this event. It brings together artists and artisans, especially food vendors,
Right.
craft beverages, and music. It's going to be a great celebration. And
10
in
10 a.m.
conjunction with that,
10 a.m. to 6, and that's at 101 South Duke Street right here in York, the Get Crafted Fine Art, Fine Craft, and Spirits Festival. And in addition, what else?
well, there's the Books, Bands, and Vinyl Festival going on at the same time on the 100 block of South Duke Street, and that's hosted by In Between Pages. So lots of fun stuff to check out on Saturday down there.
Yeah, you don't have to walk that far. You go from 101 South Duke up to 113 South Duke, and you got it all going on, right? So books,
Yeah,
bands,
you really
and
have
vinyl.
to go around the corner
Yeah.
to see that great new mural.
Oh, I'm looking at that mural. It's just pretty fantastic. I saw it the other day just by accident, but yeah, pretty good stuff. And still, there is more. It's hard to believe.
Yep, Saturday, Connor Green will be playing at the Gift Horse. That starts at 4, so you can just stay downtown and walk a couple streets over, grab a beer. Also, some great acoustic guitar. And, the Gift Horse had a little bit of trouble there with the storm.
I saw that. The
So,
tent went
yeah.
down. I saw it the other day, and hopefully they're getting that worked out and back up eventually. But the Gift Horse, one of the really neat places to go here in York.
Yep, it's a fun time. And then on Saturday, MCR, they're holding their Wild West Express, and they're doing 2 train rides that day, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's where you get on the train, you ride to Glen Rock and back, and there's a train robbery for a great cause.
Yeah, and not a real train robbery, by the way, but you'll see it actually happen. So if you say, "I'm not taking my wallet," no, you don't have to do that. It's fine. But yeah, that's all going on right there at the Northern Central Railway. And you still have, I can't even believe it. You still have other things that are happening.
Yeah, Handsome Cabs hosting a bark brunch on Sidewalk Cafe from 10 to 3 on Sunday. Seating's first come, first served outside, weather permitting, and they have a special menu for your dogs if you want to bring your dogs to the outside brunch. Who doesn't want to bring? You need a dog.
Yeah, Handsome Cab is one of those most comfortable places to sit down and just have a bite to eat and so forth. And now take your pooch with you and let them have a bite to eat too, right?
Yeah, they even have doggy ice cream for dessert.
Really? Doggy ice cream? I wonder what Mark's favorite thing is ice cream. I wonder what a dog's favorite ice cream would be if you took like a sample. I don't know. I don't know. And of course, the Revolution have the Ducks coming back to town next week, and we're going to have 6 games here. Huge series right here at 5 Brooks Robinson Way in York. And people get signed up for that by going to YorkRevolution.com and getting their tickets, right?
Are you feeling a three-peat?
I am. I am. I'm feeling really good about where the Revs are. 3 guys with over 100 RBIs, Andrea. It's never happened in the Atlantic League. 3 guys.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Brian Ray, Nick Dunn, and, of course, Jacob Teeter. And then they've got other guys that are doing great things, and their pitching staff is really good. Mikolajczyk pitching tonight, by the way, in Staten Island with a 2.80 ERA. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Wow.
So the final can't miss from Andrea Ryan. Final can't miss. What would it be?
Well, I'll say 2 things really, really quick. The York County Parks at the Friends of Wallace Cross Mill, it's the mill's 200th year, and they're having an annual Harvest Day open house.
Oh.
That's on Sunday. Check it out at yorkpa.org for more details.
Okay.
And I do want to say the Clydesdale horses are coming back to Flinchboss Farm.
I saw
That's
that.
September 2 to 6, and I'm so excited. That is such a neat.
Are you a horse fan? Are you a big horse fan, or just a Clydesdale horse? Yeah.
I am. My daughter is actually a professional equestrian, so we love all things horses. Yeah.
That is really cool. I never knew that about you. Now, your daughter, a professional equestrian, which makes you an equestrian mother, whatever that would be called. I don't know what that is.
They call them horse moms. We're just broke people.
And by the way, I am excited. And this on a personal note. Andrea invited me to a very special day on September 25th. I'm going to be actually leaving the show early, and Mark said he can cover it for me. So my final hurdle has been cleared to do an all-day tour of York County during the Civil War and the Underground Railroad and different places. Tell people about that. I was so honored that you even asked me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're excited that you're going to be there. So we have the new Explore York Bailey coach wrapped up going, and we're just taking a group of people around to all the new Civil War trails, monuments, and seeing some great stops along the way. We're going to be taking the first leg on the Northern Central Railway of York for a little train ride to check out 2 of the monuments, and we're going to be at Dill's Tavern for a little cherry bounce tasting. It's just going to be a really nice day, and it wraps up back in York and checking out the monuments here in York, including the one outside of the Goodridge Freedom Center.
I am so excited about that. You know me, I'm a historian at heart. I've taught history for 25 years of my life, and I can't wait to go on this. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be like a kid in a candy store. So thank you for asking me, and that's coming up on September 25th. So that'll be a lot of fun to go on that as well. So, Andrea, you always make our day better by telling us all the wonderful things that are happening here in York County. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But people can go to yorkpa.org/events and get in there and see all the things that are going on. We didn't get to all of them. There's a lot of stuff happening here in York. It's a great place to be, and people like Andrea Ryan and all the good people at downtown York doing a great job. Thank you so much, Andrea, for all you do.
It's a great time to be here and live in York. So thanks so much, Gary.
Thank you, and take care. An equestrian mama. Yeah, we found out about Andrea this morning. By the way, this hour being brought to you by Augie's Joint. Open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Saturdays. It's open today. It is lunchtime central right here in York. Come in the Beaver Street side of the Central York Market. And the Central Market, and you will see Augie's Joint right there for the greatest in cheesesteaks, like the Angry Cheesesteak, or the Augie's Doggy, the greatest chili dog ever. I mean, they're fantastic. These are works of art, by the way. The Loaded Dog, my wife loves that. Cheese, bacon, sour cream, and green onions on a hot dog. The Reuben Dog, they've got, you can upgrade to a combo with tater tots and a great cookie and drink, all right there at Augie's Joint. And don't forget the Gary Sutton Show burger. Ask about the Gary Sutton Show burger. Go in there and try it, for heaven's sakes. A single or a double burger, all right there at Augie's Joint, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, right there at the Central Market. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Aaron Anderson lurking around the corner, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. One of the catchiest songs of all time. Yeah. You'll be having this in your head all day today, and you'll thank Mark McKenzie for it.
Everybody.
Here you go. And then you actually kick into a song. They have the cheerleader, which is exactly appropriate for this, Tony Basil. Is it Basil or Basil?
Basil.
Yeah, whatever. You say Basil, I'll say Basil.
One hit wonder.
Thank God. Yeah, anyway, welcome back to Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Although it is catchy enough to not make the list. It dodged the list. Yeah, I don't know how it did it, but it dodged the list. Even though it's an annoying little song, it dodged the list. Anyway,
an annoying song coming out of our last stop set. It fits the bill.
Not bad. It does. Yeah.
Well, wait till the last one.
No.
Yeah.
I have to dread something.
Yes.
Oh, I never dread talking to
I don't
Aaron.
know if you'll feel it that way.
Maybe not. Maybe Aaron. I'm getting more open-minded on my music taste.
Oh.
Allegedly. Anyway, we welcome in Aaron Anderson this morning. AaronJAnderson.com is where you can find him. He is the CEO of Logos Academy and the lead pastor at Living Word Church down in Red Lion. And he joins us here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Thursday morning. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Doing great, Gary. How are you?
I'm good. I got to see you last week for about 2 seconds, you and your wife, Gail, and your sons. But I didn't get to talk to you last week. I felt like I really kind of got cheated or cheated you. I wasn't sure which, but a lot of things happening that night.
Listen, you were a busy man. You had a first pitch to throw out. You had a lot of things going on.
That was embarrassing.
It was just good to see you.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. One hopper. But I promised Delma Rivera that I wouldn't make her look bad, so I threw mine on one hop, and then she threw a perfect pitch. So Delma by comparison looked a lot better. I've been reading your pieces every week, and I am really, you of course have written the book there, Unlikely Good: Keys to Tackling Big City Problems Plaguing Your Small Community. And so I read your book, but a lot of the little pieces out of that. You did a piece this week, which actually I think you wrote 2 days ago, called "You Weren't Meant to Do This Alone," and I found in it a lot of things that really apply to all of us in our daily walks in life. Now, obviously, you're a CEO at Logos Academy, you're lead pastor at Living Word Church, but one of the things that jumped out at me as I was looking at this, you were talking about kind of analyzing yourself, and you look at yourself as kind of a visionary kind of guy. But you have to have people who are going to be the people who carry out what you envision, and learning how to get people. I hate to use the word empower because it gets overused right now, but get people to share your vision is really one of the hard things to do. To get people who have ownership of your vision, that you have talk about that as it applies, maybe not just to your situation, but as you've looked around and it applies to other people who are looking out there in the community, and you say, hey. You can't do it all yourself. You weren't meant to do it all yourself. You weren't meant to do it alone. Talk about that.
Yeah, I would say basic principle, like 101 on this is that God gives people different gifts, and people are gifted in very different ways. I mean, you have a very specific set of gifts. Your wife, she has a set of gifts. Your employees, we know Mark McKenzie, like that guy's got a particular.
Well, he just the gifts there are just it's untold. Yeah,
it's a treasure to be unearthed.
Thank you. Yeah. He's shaking his head and rolling his eyes again. But go ahead.
The reality is that when you're going to get any kind of work done, any good work, especially with visionary work. You're not going to be able to do it yourself. Now, the reality is, Gary, is a lot of us will try to do it ourselves. That's I would call that kind of the Lone Ranger syndrome. You can actually do quite a number of things sort of by yourself, where you can get things started. But the reality is you may not get very far. You may not get it done. You're probably going to burn yourself out. And you're certainly not going to have as much fun and joy as if you were doing it with other people.
It's interesting that you said that, and I think it is a lot of fun. My sister just moved back, and my sister has now joined my team here, along with Mark and me, and also joining the Revolution team. And it's fun to watch her at work. She's really good at what she does, and she helps people to realize their dreams. And I never realized how good she is, and I really enjoy sitting back and watching her do what she does. So you're right in the sense that you want to get other people on your team and other people doing things, but sometimes it's hard. But one of the things I wanted to ask you as I read your article here, how do you get people to have ownership of what you see? You're in a situation where you do two things, and then you're involved in a lot of other, interesting things in York as well. But as a pastor, and also as a CEO of a nonprofit school, Logos Academy, you have to get other people to see what you see. And I've often said, great players are the ones who make everybody around them better. And part of making people around you better is to get them to have the ownership, not rentership of that. Ownership, where they feel like they are part of that whole thing and they can see the vision. That doesn't always happen right away. It takes a little bit of time. Talk about that, if you would, Aaron.
Yeah. The reality is the visionary, may actually be the first one to see a possibility. And if they're, hopefully that visionary is an unselfish person. Because, you'll hear that language. Everybody who's worked in a business or been in a church or nonprofit has heard this language of shared vision. At some point, the visionary has to figure out how to translate the vision that they see of what something could become or who we could become collectively, and see that this is not about me, this is about us. And a great visionary will make it a shared vision. And the way they do that is that you have to be able to see that vision for other people's benefit. How are we going to improve, for instance, York City? How are we going to improve York County? This is not just, something that I want for myself, but this is something that's going to benefit, the 470,000 people that live in this county or the 50,000 people that live in York City. And you have to be able to take that vision and help people to see it. And also, I would say, Gary, that probably the next step is to be open with that vision to say, hey, there might be a revision of this that might be better than what I started with.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. I've always kind of, as a coach, I always had what I called the double A's, attack and adjust. Attack with what you know and adjust to what you don't. And I think as a visionary, as I was reading your article here, visionaries have to be open to the fact that they might not have the best idea and their vision might not be the best. And as other people come in, like I mentioned my sister as an example, or Mark. Mark may have a better vision on something than I do, and every now and then Mark will say, have you thought about this? And I maybe haven't. And so my vision, I know my vision of what this program was going to be like 2 years ago isn't anywhere close to what it actually is now. And people might say that's frightening, but the bottom line is it is not even close to what I thought it was going to be. And I'm kind of happy about that. But a lot of other people have said, have you thought about this? What did you think about this? Where are you going? So you have to, I think your point is really well taken. You have to really be open to the fact that people can help to shape that vision into something different than what you thought it was going to be initially.
Exactly. The beauty of a really good visionary is that they can go into a situation and see a thing and say, this could be so much better, and people would benefit so much more, if this were somehow different. But the reality is like, so we need visionaries, because a lot of people in the world will be content to leave things the way they are. And you've heard the phrase, don't touch it if it's not broken. If it's not being broken, don't fix it. There's some wisdom in that. And then there's a time to say, now, even like right now, I'd say very much the world that we're living in, the world is changing really, really rapidly. And if we just keep doing things exactly the way that we're doing them, there probably going to be some negative outcomes for people if we don't shift to realities. And that's why you need visionaries, but you do need people along the way who can help correct the vision. But then also the biggest part that I've learned is you've got to have people who can see the vision, but then know how to build the system to begin implementing it. Yeah,
you have to be people, the doers, the people who can carry it out. I've got ownership. I see it. I'm ready to go with it. We've shaped it as a group. We've done so unselfishly. We've done so with the idea we want the very best vision to be carried out, and now we're going to do it. We got the blueprint. Now we're going to carry it out. And getting the right people really, and you point this out in your article, makes all the difference. I think that's a really important point here to kind of close. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's so true. You know, I can't recommend enough. There's a book called Rocket Fuel. Business leaders should read it. Every entrepreneur should read it. It's about, you know, why you really need on your team a visionary, and then you need an integrator who knows how to implement. And in the vision, and those two people, the visionary and the integrator, when they come together, you know, what the authors argue is that when they come together, it's like rocket fuel. I mean, you just take off and go. And I've seen that everywhere I'm working. I have somebody who is literally like a right hand who complements me, and we work together, and we get so much more done because our gifts complement each other.
Yeah, Gino Wickman and Mark Winters wrote Rocket Fuel, and of course you mentioned in the article there that it needs the gifts of two leaders, a visionary and an integrator, and so important. Hey, good topic this morning. No matter what people are in, you know, the idea that you don't have to go there by yourself. Yeah, you weren't meant to do it alone. You were meant to do it with other people. And that's such an important thing to be able to share that vision, to help people get ownership of it, and to go forward. Aaron, always a good conversation. Love it here on a Thursday morning. Thank you, my friend, and have a great rest of your week.
You too, Gary. Be well.
Take care. Aaron Anderson here on the Gary Sutton Show. You can find him at aaronjanderson.com. And don't forget to check out his book. The book is really a good book. Mark and I both read it. Unlikely Good, Keys to Tackling Big City Problems Plaguing Your Small Community. By the way, one of the problems that I am particularly interested in people tackling is their mental health. And there are so many people that, you know, mental health problems come on all kinds of different levels. It used to be something where there was a stigma attached if you had it, but it's like anything else. It is a disease. It's something that when you have clinical depression, it can be really hard to deal with. And I can tell you from having to deal with it in my life that it is something to be tackled. It's something to being taken on, and something where you need some help of other people as well, much like we were talking about a moment ago. Well, one of the ways you can tackle it is by going to 1806 North George Street in York, the York TMS Clinic, where Dr. ATN has gotten yet another way for you to take on the mental health concerns. And they use something called the NeuroStar machine, NeuroStar TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation. What this is, it uses low magnetic pulses to wake up those areas of the brain that may have gone to sleep and caused you some depression and get them working again the way the brain should. It's like physical therapy for your brain. Now, you need to find out about this. You can give them a call today at 717-699-7361 or go to their website at yorktmsclinic.com where you will find out all about it. Or better yet, stop on by 1806 North George Street in York. It looks like a home. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to feel it homey. You could see the machine. You could talk to them about it. You can get a whole folder of information on it. They're not afraid to answer any of your questions. They have an 83% of patients saw improvement in depression symptoms. 62% of patients saw symptom relief, remission right away. They take most major health insurances, and you don't have to get referred by a physician. You can refer yourself. You can go there yourself. They are getting great results right now. It's another in a long line of things to help get that good balance into your life. A session lasts as little as 19 minutes a day. You can resume normal activities immediately after treatment. You drive yourself there, drive yourself home. It's not something that's going to debilitate you in any way, shape, or form. And if you want to learn more about it, go to @Gary Sutton Show on Facebook page. Way down there, you'll find a video by Dr. ATN and I showing you how the whole machine works. It's York TMS Clinic. Check them out today at yorktmsclinic.com or stop on by 1806 North George Street right here in York, or give them a call and tell them I sent you. I am very proud to be working with Dr. ATN on making this well known to Yorkers. 717-699-7361. If you or a friend you know, a veteran who has PTSD, someone who's got OCD, whatever it might be, they are ready to help you get that back in balance at York TMS Clinic. Check them out today and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. WOYK News Time, 8:50.
See, this would be on my list. It wasn't that I didn't like the Stray Cats, but it was this song in particular, the Stray Cat Strut. Is this on your list? It doesn't even register.
I heard it. No, I heard it before. It wasn't. I kind of liked it. You know, my cats listen to the show every day. They're listening right now. They love this. I can see the three of them in line, just kind of dancing back and forth.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, any song about cats, you know, anything about themselves, you know, they dig. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, there it is.
It might be the first time we've ever played that song.
And maybe the last.
Yeah.
You never know. By the way, I do want to let you know, PennDOT announced that nighttime paving is going to result in lane restrictions over on Route 30 in York County on the east side. The work is scheduled to take place just west of Route 462 exit, that's Hellam, to Bergs Lane, from 7 p.m. tonight to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So paving will resume Sunday through Thursday next week, each day between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. as well. There's less traffic during that time. But 7 p.m., you know, still a lot of people out and about.
Yep.
So you might want to adjust accordingly. The overnight lane restrictions will be in place on the westbound side of Route 30 during work hours, which are expected to cause travel delays. An accelerated concrete patching operation is also underway between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. in the eastbound lanes between the Accomack Road Bridge and the Susquehanna River. Work will continue Sundays through Thursdays. So just kind of updating you on that and keeping you apprised of that as they work on Route 30 out there on the east side.
So how about some health news? This is pretty important.
FDA officials gave expedited approval to a first-of-its-kind pill for the most common form of pancreatic cancer. It's called daraxonrasib. The pill blocks a mutated protein that fuels tumor growth in more than 90% of pancreatic cancer cases. A new study shows patients getting the new treatment live for a median of nearly 13 months, compared with about 6.5 months for chemotherapy recipients. The American Cancer Society estimates about 67,000 new cases of pancreatic cancer will be diagnosed this year. Tom Graham, Fox News.
Yeah, and I saw something this morning in the news you might have missed, Mark. A study says seeing ghosts can be good for you because, well...
Why?
After you poop your pants, you have nothing left in you when you get psychospora. So I guess seeing ghosts, yeah. Who hasn't seen a ghost and said, oh my gosh, what happened? Anyway, yeah. So Apple has released the M5 Ultra, which is the most powerful chip yet. It's designed for 3D rendering, visual effects, and advanced charging of your wallet. So that's something else that's going on there. So just a couple of things this morning. This hour has been brought to you by Augie's Joint. Augie's Joint is located just inside the Beaver Street side of the Central Market. And I'll tell you what, they make some of the best sandwiches you're ever going to have in your life, from the Augie's Doggy, which is this wonderful chili dog with onions on the top. I mean, and a cushion for your food. His rolls are fantastic. But they also make the angry cheesesteak. They have some peppers in a cheesesteak. Their cheesesteak is off the charts. I mean, I'm telling you right now, they have one of the best cheesesteaks you're going to find. And if you don't like the idea of peppers in there, maybe you like the idea of a Swiss room cheesesteak, not cheesecake, cheesesteak. Classic chicken cheesesteak with a chicken breast, fried onions and cheese, to the Gary Sutton Show burger, to a single burger or double burger with onion chutney, onions, cheese, Augie sauce, which is the key to this, and the brown mustard. They've got the Augie's Doggy, as we said. They've got the loaded dog, which is fantastic, my wife's favorite, where they have cheese, bacon, sour cream, and green onions, to all kinds of other classics. Upgrade to a combo with tots, a cookie and drink. They have these great tater tots out there, and a cookie and a drink, all right there, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturdays at Augie's Joint, just inside the Beaver Street side of the Central Market, where they are loaded at lunchtime. Stop on out there and make that part of your lunchtime stop here in York at the Central Market, Augie's Joint. Mark?
So don't forget what you don't know.
Don't forget what you don't know.
How about this?
Okay.
Did you know that placebos can have side effects?
I did not know that.
Yes. It's in the name
Probably
of it.
mental, I would think.
Check this out. Nocebo.
Nocebo.
That's what it's called, the nocebo effect. It can involve nausea, drowsiness, allergic reactions, that kind of thing. This can occur because a person, get this, was expecting to experience.
Is that like non-Perels and Perels?
I don't
know.
Be.
Yeah, it could be that. If not, it should be. Yeah, and don't forget the Revs on tonight. 6:10 is airtime. 6:30 game time. Daryl Henry coming to you live from Staten Island. And he'll be bringing you all the action tonight. Hopefully, go Revs. And thanks to Mark. Thanks to all of you for joining me today here on the Gary Sutton Show. We'll wrap it all up tomorrow on Friday. It is 9 o'clock.